Tavern. A little about us, we're your at-home interactive weekly geek con, all blended with wit, sarcasm, and a pub-like atmosphere. We're adults talking about adult topics and using adult language. We laugh and make jokes about almost everything. We don't intend to upset, but some folks have their feelings hurt easily. This is all done in humor in the style of the great offenders such as George Carlin, Red Fox, Lenny Bruce, Richard Pryor, Robin Williams, Wanda Sykes, Sam Kinison, George Lopez, Lisa Lampanelli, Chris Rock, and others. So grab your vice of choice, sit back, relax, and get ready to enjoy yourself in the company of great people, hot toddies, and guests alike, because George Lopez, here we come.
Put that long day behind you. Good times lie ahead. With company worth keeping, that'll bash a smile on your head. Come on in, the door's open. You'll find just the finest folks here. Pull up a chair, grab a drink, and lend our stories your ear. Cause we're the talk the tavern. Here you're always welcome. The talk the tavern. Promising beer and bed love. The talk the tavern. Music, medicine, then some. The talk the tavern. The song's over. Here we come.
And welcome to the inaugural edition of Talk of the Tavern's Tuesday Tunes. I like alliteration. You guys can unmute yourself and join in now.
Yay.
I'm unmuted.
Okay, let me do intros here real quick. Besides the cat that's getting up in the pipe smoking area. Thanks, cat. Okay, I'm Travis Sivart, your host, joined by my lovely co-host, Andrea of Night Owl Creations.
Hello.
And then the...
Are we...
What? What?
I was going to say, are we doing the drinking thing, or...
I figure if we have vices, go ahead and list them out if you want to shout out real quick, and then we'll get to our guests. We always do the guests last. Forgot to tell the guests that.
Ooh.
Are you just eating teacups?
No, I'm having all kinds of different teas today. I have my whole setup. So
what are you starting
with? Cinnamon vanilla.
What? Who is it?
Oh, cinnamon vanilla by Yogi Tea.
By Yogi. Hey, Yogi. I don't know whose voice that was. It was a boo-boo. Anyhow. And we're joined by Benton Spiker of SoftServo. SoftServo, right?
SoftServo.
There we go.
No, of SoftServo. Benton Spiker, who is SoftServo. Just me.
Just you. Now,
Just
what
me.
vices are you partaking of today for the show?
I've got chock full of nuts.
Classic.
And, yeah, like as we were talking about, I've got my Butterberry from Milan Tobacconists, which I'm not sponsored by them. They should appreciate the free press.
That's right.
And old Captain Black.
Quick shout out to Skipper. Thank you for joining us there. And what am I having today? I am actually having iced coffee at Starbucks Verona. And then I am some C&D Cross-Eyed Cricket in a Mr. Borg pipe. And I've actually pulled all three pipes I have today are Mr. Borg just because they're new. And, you know when you got a new toy, you want to play with it. Unless it's your Winky, then it doesn't have to be new. You're still going to... Oh, okay.
I had it pulled up on the other screen here. I like them. They're pretty.
Yeah, and they're not bad for the prices and everything. I'm pretty pleased because as much as I'd love to spend $200-300 on a pipe, it's not in my budget. But 20 to 80, yeah, I can do that. And I'm pleased with them. They do tend to have filters, but I pull the filters out. I don't believe in smoking a filter with your pipe or a pipe with your filter. So. Okay, let me give an idea for the viewers what we're doing today. Talk of the Tavern has come up with other shows throughout the week. Today is Tuesday Tunes, so it is either going to be me some days all by myself playing music and chatting in between songs, or like today when we're lucky enough to have a guest, we're going to talk to them, about them, around them, probably not behind them. That's just rude. And Benton is, of course, a beard aficionado, apparently not a coffee snob. He's got chock full of nuts. A pipe smoker, a electronic musician, a gamer, an editor, so a man of many talents who'll fit in perfect on our little eclectic community here. Hold on while I light up some.
He is our first.
He
He's
is.
our first guest ever on Tuesday Tunes.
I'm so honored.
You should.
And it's all because I happen to be on spring break this week.
I was about to say that. Yeah, we originally he's like, yeah, I don't know when I can come on. Maybe in the summer. And I'm like, well, when's spring break? And he's like, oh, this week. I'm like, what are you doing tomorrow? This is a pipe.
Well, this is what he's doing.
It is. This is a pipe I had sitting around, and it's half full because I smoked part of it last week, and I don't remember what's in it.
Like you do.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of expensive pipes, here's my hand-me-down heirloom Savinelli.
I like
Which I don't
Savinellis.
How much? I don't know how much. Seeing me drop it, I don't know how much it was originally, but this is a nice pipe.
Well, Savinellis, you're going to go anywhere from a minimum of $80 once you're catching it on clearance, all the way up to a couple hundred. I enjoy Savinellis. Generally, they're a very well-made pipe, and that's my first requirement of a pipe is I have to be able to put the pipe cleaner test where you can actually insert a pipe cleaner and it goes all the way to the bowl without having to struggle, fight, twist, push, etc.
Mhm.
And then the second thing is pretty. For example, I won this one on Mr. Brog, and I'm going to show it to both cameras. So you see that one
Ooh.
there, Benton.
That's
I'm
pretty.
I'm not a fan of rusticated. And for all the viewers out there, both of you, that's it there. But it's light. I like the Canadian style pipe. I just don't like this work here. And I think this is pine. Not pine. Pearwood. But I like the shape. I like the weight. I like how it smokes. It's got a very open draft. I just
But
not a fan of this.
Is it sapient pearwood?
You know, actually, a review for, I believe this pipe went up on YouTube earlier this morning, about 10 o'clock. And Ian, who's one of our regular viewers and might be on here soon if he's not already, mentioned sapient pearwood, which I had never heard of. So it's like it's great to make furniture out of because you can actually move it around without. And I'm like, I don't know anything about this. It's so.
We're having a joke at your expense, and you're not in on it.
No, I'm not. Explain it to me. Use small words and talk slow.
You've heard of Terry Pratchett, I'm sure.
Yes, okay. So it's a Discworld thing.
Sapient. Are you familiar with the luggage in the Terry Pratchett novels, which is the chest that has 100 little tiny feet at the bottom?
No.
That is okay. It's made of.
How do you not know this?
Wood, and
Okay.
it's in the books. It's a sentient chest that follows its owner around to extreme and hilarious degrees. Hilarity ensues, and so when he's like, it's great to make furniture out of, and of course it is, because it will follow you around and eat people for you and things like that.
Yeah, it's. Hold on. Since you went into that full explanation, and I have like a dozen Discworld books, but I've only read one. Just as life went on. So yeah, Ian said sapient pearwood makes for some fairly nifty furniture, with the best thing about it being you don't have to break your back moving it, playing the part of the itinerant occupier. So there you go. It's yeah, and that is the pipe that the review went up for today. So there we go.
You are missing out on Discworld.
I like it. Like I said, I've read one. It was one of those things. Once I started doing the show and writing my own
He's
books,
too busy writing books instead of reading books.
yeah, which I realize all the big writers, they're like, read. I get it. I'm with you. I agree. I'm just horrible at setting that time. And, oh man, I love an audiobook, but they are expensive.
Which one have you read?
It was like 7 years ago. I don't remember. I'd have to go in there and pick it out. It had maybe it was guards. Yeah, it was the first one I picked up, and then I got a bunch from somebody else. And shit, it might.
Yeah, there's a bunch in the library.
Might have been 12 years ago I got them. I don't know. But yeah, once my creative outlets expanded, my entertainment outlets contracted.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I'm so far behind on TV shows and movies.
I purposely, and I realize this is time I could be reading instead, but I purposely make time. Um, in the morning, I'm answering emails. In the afternoon, it's things like this. After this, till about 7 to 9 o'clock, I'm either writing or recording and editing YouTube videos or whatever creative work has to be done. And then after 7 to 9 p.m., it's cooking and it's sitting down with Andrea, just enjoying. Generally, you know what I like about TV now? The story arcs they put season long instead of just like A-Team where you watched any episode, it was the same story with a different name on it. Now you actually have a season-long story arc with smaller story arcs per episode or 2 to 3 episodes, and I enjoy the hell out of that.
I like Netflix because I can watch it all at once or a little bit at a time.
I actually watched a reality show that I enjoyed, which is not something that's normal. It was called Nailed It. It was a cooking show. Basically, they bring 3 contestants in and show you this awesome dessert and go recreate it. And it might be like a cookie in the shape of your face or an emoji cake. And they'd have 3 people try to make this thing in a certain amount of time. And of course, more often than not, fail miserably. But it was just
It's so great.
they didn't bitch at each other. They weren't at each other's throat. It was fun and silly and light and just enjoyable.
And it was about 20 minutes.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah. What were you saying?
I feel like the Netflix series where they do a season and it's got a story arc and all that, that's replacing film as like the dominant storytelling format.
Yes. And it was okay. For decades now, I've been saying cable needs to charge a la carte so you can pick out your 10, 20 stations you watch, because I don't need 200-300 stations when I only watch 10 or 20. And then I've been saying since at least the turn of the millennium, somebody needs to take a book, and this has happened since then, and give it to HBO or Showtime or whoever, and let them make a full season of 22 to 26 episodes of this book. So you actually get a 24-hour movie spanned across a year.
Like Lemony Snicket's?
Well, like Lemony Snicket, Game of Thrones, any Stephen King novel should take 12 to 20 hours to tell, not 2.5. Or even
no, except when they did Children of the Corn, that was a short story. They made like 200 movies out of it.
Yeah, well, the short stories, if I'm ever approached by a Hollywood type who goes, I love how you write, what do you have for a movie? I will hand them my books of short stories going, make a movie out of those. Well, what about your full-length novel? No, you make a series out of that. Do this right. You know what? We should talk about Benton. We totally got off on a tangent right away. We're good like that. So,
you know which one of your stories would make a good book?
Which one?
It's the my favorite of yours that I've read, and it's the one where you're now I can't remember the names of any of your characters or the names of the story, but it's your Sherlock Holmes sort of takeoff character.
Croker Norge.
Yeah, and it's the one where they go in and they're like, people are disappearing, and so they go into this house and it sort of takes them into all these different dimensions.
Yeah.
And they're like running from dinosaurs at one point.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
That's my the best one, I think.
He has his own book now.
Oh yeah?
I've done a whole book, and they're a short story cycle. So like Sherlock Holmes, you have 5 stories per book or whatever, and they're not one big story. They're separate stories, but they're in a sequence where they'll refer to one that's already passed later in the book. And I did that with Croker Norge, and there's 5 or 7 in his book. And I think if somebody went, again, Travis, we want to make a movie, start with the first short story in this book. And now you have a franchise set up because there's 5 or 6 more stories after that one. with an actual ending. It wraps up at the end. I like Croker Norge. He's just I've always said it's like Sherlock Holmes meets The Odd Couple.
And for all the people, our two viewers, I'm dropping the link to that book for Amazon
Thank you. It is also
in
down
the chat.
below the video screen. You scroll down, you'll see the Amazon link down there.
Oh, well, now I know.
I moved it all the way to the bottom because I wasn't selling books this way, so they're available. They're just not. Sorry.
Well, I put it in the chat, so.
There we go. I appreciate it. Okay, hold on. We're going to focus on Benton here. Benton, your primary creative outlet is music. Am I correct on that one?
Okay. Indeed.
So let's start on that. And you know what? Here's what we'll do. We're 15 minutes in. Let me pick a song of his and play it, which means we're doing this primitive style. We get to mute ourselves so we don't talk over his music. Now,
And while the music is playing, I will be posting a link to all of Benton's things too, so you can purchase the music or contact him to hire him, whatever.
That's a good idea. That's a hell of a thought. Benton, are you watching on Twitch right now?
No, I was about to pull it up so that I could actually hear what you played.
I suggest you mute the sound until the music comes on and we're not talking, but this will let you watch as people join in and chat with us and ask questions and whatnot. And I saw Skipper here, but I haven't seen him comment, so maybe he's doing some amazing thing. It's hard to say. What are we going to play first? You want me to play the LSDJ? Sound good?
Yeah, sure.
Now, what is the LS? I'm guessing LSDJ ambient, right?
No, LSDJ, that stands for Little Sound DJ.
Okay.
Hold on, I have it here. Another free endorsement. LSDJ is software that you use to write music on a Game Boy. And I have it here on a flash cart.
No.
And the AMB is ambient, yeah, because nobody uses LSDJ to make ambient music for obvious reasons. It's I mean, if you get into it, it's difficult. So I wanted to see if I could do it.
Is this going to be like a 16-bit game soundtrack type thing?
Sort of. I didn't just use the Game Boy, so I'm not a real chiptune. But I used it, and I used an old Casio sampling keyboard and a cheap echo effect. And
so anything else you want to say about this song before I mute myself and throw it on?
Go for it. Let's see what happens.
Now, guys, everybody watching and viewing, we may or may not play the whole track. So sit back, relax, comment in the comments. We'll chat back with you. But I'm going to roll this and see how we got. So I'm going to mute myself, and here we go. I'm going to turn the music down a little bit
Yes.
and leave it playing behind us. Since we're not going to step over the lyrics, I figure we could talk and have this rolling in the background. Now, Benton, I want to ask you, is that cool with you, man? Because I don't want to walk on your work and talk over your work. But since we don't have lyrics, we can have it background. Now, the other thing I need to ask is, anybody listening, are we clear enough without the music overpowering? Because I can drop that level on the music just a little bit more.
I was listening. It took me a minute to get to turn it off because I was hearing everything.
So, Benton,
Do you want me to
unmute
chat?
yourself? You're muted.
Okay. I shouldn't think it anymore.
We're all old school. Are you cool with talking while your music plays behind us?
No, it's that's what people do.
Good. In that case, let's do it that way. I think this is very conducive for that. And hey, to
And I
everybody-
just checked it, and it sounds okay.
Good. RW
But-
Mac popped in for a second, but I don't know if he's still here.
I'm not a Twitch fan, and I don't understand the screen at all.
Okay.
There are names everywhere, and I don't know which ones are important.
Okay. So when you're looking at the right-hand side of the screen, now you're going to see two dialogues. One inside the box with us.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I have that is when I throw this up on YouTube, people watching on YouTube can follow along with the conversation as people chat with us.
Uh-huh.
But then you see a larger duplication on the right-hand side, outside of the video box. And those, Talk of the Tavern is me, Night Owl Creations is Andrea. So that's us chatting to the people, dropping the links for you and all that good stuff. Understand
And
that
as
so
people
far?
come in, they'll have their name.
Now, let me make
Maybe-
something easier. On the left-hand side of your screen, you see all that darker list to the left of our screen?
Yeah.
In the just above the Talk of the Tavern that's on our screen, you're going to see an arrow. If you click that, it's going to minimize that left-hand menu. So there you go. See, and now you got less crap on your screen, and you could minimize the chat on the right also. There's an arrow in the upper right just above our video, and you can close that chat too. That way it's just what we're seeing here. Yeah, it's not an intuitive interface. It's great for what it does, but I feel like what happened is they built their house to do one thing, and they've just stuck by that one thing and built on top of it instead of redesigning the whole thing so it's more intuitive.
It seems like they do gangbusters. It seems like they do gangbusters, people.
They do, and I'm pleased because we could do the talk show format. So,
Well, also, if you want to learn a little bit more, I think it's on YouTube. We have a show all about Twitch when we were learning.
we do.
So-
Matter of fact, RW Mac was there to help us. Hey, thanks for following. Oh, wait, that's probably you, isn't it? Is
Yeah,
that you
me?
that just... Did you just follow? I see the name is Benry87. Is that you?
Oh, no, that's my friend Henry. Hi, Henry.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Hey, Henry, thanks for jumping in. Appreciate that. And we're going to let that song fade out, and we're going to go back to conversation for a little bit. And what I'll do before I play a song, I'll see if it's one we should have playing behind us, or else if we should mute ourselves and talk over
well,
it.
how about this?
Yeah.
What was it that we just played?
That was LSDJ AMB. I don't know. I just typed this stuff out. I never talk about it.
I was going to say, you want to tell it? Do you want to tell us about the song? What
No,
you kind of did?
Like I said, I was like, can I use LSDJ to make something ambient? And you know, I like using, despite this thing behind me, I like using really cheap, shitty tools to make music, right? So
There's
I
something we
even
said
have-
about simple, isn't there?
here's my sampling keyboard,
Nice.
the Casio SK1, right, from 1987.
Mhm.
And a Game Boy, and then do I have that thing too? Yeah, I do. The Korg Monotron, which is, I think this is like a $40 little, it's a toy.
Nice.
You can make some god-awful noises.
It's like me.
Yeah, so I'm running everything through that, and I think like that specific track, I think you can go to my SoundCloud and download it for free if it's still up. And I think there's a video of that one on my YouTube. I don't even remember if did I even send you my YouTube?
Give me a second. I could pull up the email with all of yours. Andrew, did I send you that list of links?
You did not, but if you tell me what the YouTube is, I can type it in the chat so everyone can
It's just
check it out.
SoftServo on YouTube, I think. See,
What
I'm
is
really
it?
bad at SoftServo.
So,
Really bad at promotion.
Creative people are notoriously bad at promotion. So, Andrew, what I'm going to do is
this is why I'm here.
It is. I'll tell you what, I can crow about her for a second. She has taken up our social media banner and ran with it, and it has been so helpful. It lets me focus on other things. Andrew, there's a list of his links sent to you via Facebook Messenger.
Awesome.
So you can pull
Okay.
them. And let's see, does he have his YouTube up there? Nope, he does not. But he has his Bandcamp and his Instagram and his Pure Steam Facebook. I want to talk to you about that, which I have my Pure Steam book right here. So
Yep.
this is, and I'm going to give a brief description. So this is a steampunk campaign setting, which is set to the Pathfinder rules, which I've never played Pathfinder. So it's not going to give me how to play Pathfinder, is it?
No, it's not.
Okay.
But you can get everything you need to play Pathfinder off the SRD. Andrea, it's youtube.com/SoftServo Music. Because I forget this every time. If you just put in SoftServo, you get the YouTube channel for SoftServo Systems, which is a company that actually makes software for programming servo motors. I'm just waiting for my cease and desist letter.
with your Pure Steam, have you thought about, is it a consideration to do it with D&D 5th edition also?
Yeah, that's actually in the works.
Beautiful. I want to support that as much as I can.
That's our number one most asked question, is when is the 5th edition version coming out? And we were asked that at Gen Con so much last year that we sat down at Gen Con last year and started hashing it out. And it's difficult because Pure Steam, the place where Pure Steam really shines is in the classes and the archetypes for the existing classes. Those things don't really exist in 5th Ed. You don't have an alchemist in 5th Ed.
Yeah, they did in 3rd edition and 3.5. Right. And I loved that build your character around a concept instead of build your character around your dice rolls.
And that's basically Pathfinder. I mean, Pathfinder is just sort of, if you're familiar with 3.5, then you're familiar enough with Pathfinder to have something to go on.
That's what people told me.
Yeah, and I mean, Pathfinder is definitely its own beast now because they've just produced so much content. And then I think they've suffered from some power creep and things like that, because if you, like when I run a Pathfinder game, one of the first things that I will tell the group is you are allowed to use stuff from this book, this book, this book, and this book.
Right.
And they're usually some of the earlier books, because the later stuff is, I don't have the books because I haven't bought the entire Paizo library.
Well, can I use stuff out of Dragon magazine?
Yeah, right.
That's always the question you'd get in the 80s and 90s.
The worst shit with Pathfinder is that there are these SRD sites with all this third-party stuff that's just broken as shit, and people are like, "Oh, I found a class online. It's for Pathfinder that lets me, cast Fireball at will as a class skill. Like, can I do that?" And I'm like, "No, you can't. Oh, can I be this race that automatically gets a +5 bonus to my strength? Well, what are the downsides? I'm green."
I was a bit upset in 5th edition when they came out with the Dragonkin as a standard race. I was kind of like, yeah. And I put big social penalties. I'm like, look, we might be able to play things, but racism exists. You know, people are going to be cranky that you're a dwarf or a gnome or a dragonkin. You walk into your average town and you're going to face some serious social repercussions. Now, some of the larger towns you'll probably be okay in, or, you know, if there is a tribe of your people or a city of your people somewhere in the trading route of this smaller town, you'll be okay. But in general, it's going to create problems for you. Well, I'll just attack the city guards. Okay, we got to stop playing now.
The Matthew Mercer has handled that kind of thing really well on Critical Role.
How so?
I don't know. It's like he had multiple Dragonborn characters on Critical Role, and it was never a. I don't know. They didn't seem overpowered. Maybe that's because because of the nature of Critical Role. But to me it seemed like, you know, because he would have tieflings and he would have Dragonborn characters on the show regularly, and it was never a big deal because it was just that's an accepted part of this particular setting.
Right.
And other stuff was, you know, we think of Dragonkin as something that you shouldn't be a PC race just because they never have been. Well, what if they suddenly are? Okay. Well, I mean, you could say that about orcs too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've had half-orcs for a long time now, but there was a time when it was like, well, the orcs are the bad guys.
See, with an established game, I had no problem when people are like, I chose a race out of the Monster Manual, I don't want to play that. And I'd be like, okay, let's do this, because I know the player and know we're going to do this fairly and balanced. And that's the important part. But in my medieval fantasy world that I write in as well as gamed in, I want the racial tensions between the different races. I want... you can go, sure, the big capitals across the continent you can go into and be fine for the most part, unless you're in the wrong part of town. But when you wander into the little human, you know, places, you're still going to have that backwater mentality of us versus them. And I feel that adds to the game role play.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know,
and it's hard to find people who will role play that. God.
This is why I'm very picky. I've never publicly ran a game for strangers because I want to make sure they understand you could be about anything you want to be, but A, don't split my party socially or physically more than necessary. I had one guy who role-played an angry warrior. He just had this temper. But when we created the characters with all of us there, he's like, look, guys, the way I'm going to play this is he's always upset at people. He's always angry. He's going to be confrontational. But I'm going to throw one line out so you get the idea, and then I'm going to stop so we don't actually create a role-playing situation where our characters get in a fight. And everybody went, cool. So everybody got to deal with a good player who is playing a bit of a dick. And it never split the group socially. Yeah. That same game had one player that always argued the rules, and then he'd Google them when I said, no, that's wrong, and he'd always find out I was right. What do you got, Andrea? Oh, your sewing kit. Your cookie kit.
Okay, everybody knows these cookie tins. Well, I have a huge one, and this is my sewing box. I'm going to create while we listen to music and talk.
Now, we
You're
talked...
working on.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Well, I came up with a design, we'll see how it works, for a teacup holster.
A teacup.
That's not... Mm-hmm.
Right on.
Yeah, a teacup holster that will hold my spoon, my teas, my little bits of sugar.
Spoon!
All in one. Yeah, so we'll see.
Cool beans.
There we go. I see you logged in as SoftServo. If you feel like if you want to chat, you do have to follow the channel. So click follow in the upper right, I think it is, of the screen.
Following does not cost anything. And if you are an Amazon Prime member, feel free to subscribe to our channel. It's part of your membership. It costs you nothing, but makes us a little bit of coin.
Oh, well, I'm an Amazon Prime member, so there you go.
You may have to link your accounts. If you click subscribe, it might walk you through it. But if you don't want to deal with that,
it will talk you through it. And that wasn't directed at you, Benton. It's to our viewers.
I know, but I'll do it anyway.
We appreciate
Awesome.
it. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, we talked for about an hour before the show started, and there was some stuff I almost went, let's stop talking about this so we could talk about it during the show. But I was enjoying the conversation too much to shut it down. We talked about superheroes and gaming and music and pipes. And hey, let me ask you.
Yeah.
So I've got facial hair, but I can't grow a beard yet. Rolling up on 50, I still can't get a beard. Do you shape your beard?
He's not going to donate anything to you now.
I don't know how I'd look with that color red. It might be okay.
It's going white, man.
I'm getting that, and it's white. It's not gray. I'm like white or silver that I'm getting, and I'm thrilled.
Red beards don't go gray. They go white. You can kind of see on the. I don't know if they can see it on the thing.
I see it there, yeah.
White streak. It's growing. No, I do a couple times a month with trimmers, and I've watched. I've spent an embarrassing amount of time on YouTube looking up tutorials and things on beard grooming.
I just did that last month, which is why I'm now asking somebody where I can direct it to what I want to know in case you know something I need.
Yeah. There's one guy that I can't remember his name now, but he's awesome, and he's got a very similar sort of beard to what I have, and he's I think he's a stylist by profession, and he does videos on how to take care of your beard and how to trim it. And the whole process for me is you get a boar hair brush and a hair dryer, and I've got the beard oil and really heavy conditioner because I have really dry skin, so I turn that stuff all up to 11, and you have to floof it out, and then you make an almost cartoony shape,
right?
Sort of like this when it's all floofed out, and then when you actually brush it, then it looks nice and it doesn't look scraggly.
So how far up under do you trim? Or do you just let it go crazy?
It's sort of a curve.
Okay.
That makes sense?
I heard the
There's
general
sort of
rule, depending on your neck, it's 1 to 2 fingers above your Adam's apple. And I think with my neck, it's a round head, kind of chubby neck, 1 finger is what I'm using.
Yeah, mine naturally stops about 1 finger above my Adam's apple. But then it just turns
halfway across.
I have so much chest hair, though, that it looks kind of weird to just have a gap there.
I have none. I'm good. I've got 7.
I'm extremely hairy all over. I have to trim my nose hair and my ear hair and, everything.
I didn't till I hit like 30 or 32, and then suddenly, I remember first time I'm in the barber chair or a stylist chair, whatever I was in, and they took, they're doing the back of the neck, and then suddenly there's a bzzz along my ear, and I'm like, what the hell? And they're like, you've got hair growing in your ears. I'm like, no, I don't. And they're like, okay, then you don't. Bzzz.
Yeah, that started happening to me when I was like 17. I started shaving at age 12. So
not me. I couldn't get a mustache till 25. Didn't get the goatee till 30. It didn't connect till 35. And like I said, there's hair here, but you can't see it, and it comes in so fine and sparse that it's not a beard. It's adorable fluff.
Well, I'll tell you what you have that I don't, though, is I have really, really tried with several different brands of mustache wax. Even was it you that recommended to me the Fireman's brand mustache wax, I think?
But the tacky in particular.
Yeah. So I went and bought some. No, my mustache does not cooperate with mustache wax.
You have to stop trimming along your lip. Some of this you did. Okay.
Yeah, I let it go for months, and I just couldn't stand it anymore because it wouldn't stay, because my hair is, you're talking about how fine your hair is. Mine is, I've actually wondered, what is the world record for the single thickest human hair? because I might be able to make a world record attempt. Because every now and again, I'll look down at my shirt and I've got an 18 gauge wire sitting on my chest that fell off of my face because it is incredibly thick. And if I don't take care of it, then it feels like tumbleweed.
I'm luckily, it's not bad for me when it comes to that because I've looked at beard oils and I don't know if I actually need it. Maybe a little bit to help shape it when I get to that point, but not so much before then.
I don't use beard oil and everything, I look ridiculous. It's just I look like a mountain man, and it just gets all knotted and matted and horrible. And
so, have you found since you have a beard, you actually take smaller bites because it's just so easy to get stuff stuck in your face?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know anyway.
Okay, let's put another song on behind us. Now, this one says Untitled. Shall we go with the Untitled? It's an 11-minute track.
Go for it. Play as much as you want.
Okay, let's pop that in behind us here.
Guinness World Records, 477.52 micrometers.
Thank you, Henry. Let's see, I'm curious what the genetic heritage of that person is, because I'm sure that makes a difference. There are doctors that specialize in the health of human hair and scalp. Interesting. There you go.
I need to find one. Measure one of these crazy hairs that come out of my beard.
I'd tell you to check the yellow pages, but I don't think we have those anymore. So you know what else I got? I told you about this earlier. I'm going to pull these out now. When the weather gets warmer and I can sit outside, which middle of April we're expecting snow this weekend, but I picked up these here. So there's a bunch of different ones in here of different sizes and whatnot.
Oh, well, they don't have stems or anything.
No, I bought stems separately, and I'm looking at the stems, and yeah, I'm going to have to drill out the holes larger to fit these stems, or sand down the stem, and I think it's going to be drill out the hole larger, because let's not be silly. But yeah, I have a bunch of raw pipes, and I love a big bowl. I want a 40-minute to an hour smoke whenever I can, and most of these are smaller bowls. Some of them are absolutely teeny, like I can't even fit my pinky in that one.
Okay.
But it's also one of those things, if I find other people are interested, I will share, because I don't need to do 10 of these things. Or, once I do make them, I will pass them on to other people. And, here, have a pipe that I made, which hopefully will be cool and not terribly lame. We'll see.
That's awesome.
It's something I have considered doing for years. I used to be a part of the pipe community and made pipe racks, and matter of fact, behind me you can see some of them, and they're not beautiful pipe racks. That's why I quit doing it, because I just didn't have the skill level or interest that these other guys who are genuinely talented in woodworking. I'm very much a DIY guy, unless my budget allows me not to be. Then I'm like, oh no, I'll just buy that shit instead of building it.
Whenever you take on a project, there's an art to looking at it and saying, well, gee, could I buy this for the money and effort that I would put into building it?
Yep. The same thing for doing your own work on your own car. I used to, do my own brakes, change a radiator, alternator, whatever I had to do, and now I'm like, you know what, it's just not worth the time, energy, parts, etc. It's easier for me just to pay somebody else to do it, and it makes it worth it. A couple of extra hours at work instead of 12 hours under my car on a day where I could be doing something else.
Right. Yeah, I can't work on my car at all. Cars escape me. They're a lot faster.
Yeah, well, my problem is I don't mind doing my own lawn care. I like doing my own lawn care. I don't mind building something by hand. I don't mind writing a book or whatever creative outlets I have, painting a house, installing a ceiling fan, because each of those I walk away from and I go, look at what I did. Anytime I fix my car, I'm like, it looks exactly the same. I can't tell. I just spent so many hours doing this. There's nothing. I'm not getting any sense of accomplishment because it's invisible.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I cook a great meal, I go, I've got this. Look at me. This pipe is just clogging.
Yeah. I can't tell if it's a little awkward that I can't hear the music.
I could turn it up a bit. Well, you're going to also hear us talking. But I'll turn it up a bit. And like I said, we can mute ourselves if you're like, I want people to hear this.
No, I have the Twitch stream muted.
Okay. Yeah, that's why you can't hear it. It's
Well, I can hear it.
somebody has told me there's a device out there where I will be able to pipe the music through it so everybody on Skype can also hear it. But again, it's a matter of budget. But with the Patreon and everything, that kind of technology will come in time. It'll be something
We'll get it. We'll be advanced. But this is our first show, and we're doing great.
We had a fun show last night too. It's well, there's a reason I love doing this, and there's a reason I'm expanding it. It's because it is just so much fun for me to do and bring people on and talk about things. And what else did we have on our talk about list? Are you a cigar guy also, or just pipes?
Cigars occasionally. It's kind of a summer thing for me, but I don't know anything about them, so I couldn't tell you what I like.
Well, it's easy enough to take care of. It's next time we're in the same place. No, you're not coming over here to RavenCon this month, are you?
No, when is RavenCon?
21st, 22nd, 20th through 22nd. So 2.5 weeks away. It's,
Okay.
But I would have brought cigars for you and given you something which is a good starter, nothing too strong, knock you on your ass. But still something, since you're a pipe smoker, apparently you enjoy flavor, you understand don't inhale, that sort of thing.
Yeah. The next con I'm going to be at is the 27th, 28th, 29th, and I'm going to be at the Steampunk Symposium in Cincinnati.
Oh, that's the same
Yep.
day as RavenCon.
No, I don't think this year it is. But we do
No?
have something else that we have a cocktail party here at the house that weekend.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So for all the
Well,
pipe smokers. Mhm.
Any of my 5 people here are going to Steampunk Symposium. I'm going to be running probably 1 or 2 games, but generally the steampunk people and the role-playing people are kind of 2 different crowds.
You think so?
Yeah, that's been my experience.
Okay. I don't know, because like hanging out with you and then hanging out with the Tefra guys, there's. But yeah, I guess the Steampunk Con isn't necessarily the biggest gaming convention out there.
Because they're interested in the costumes and the props, and when they do role playing, I think it's usually LARP kind of stuff.
No.
And I think that's when I was originally approached about Steampunk Symposium, it was because they was asking me if I was interested in running a LARP, and I have no experience with that, so I couldn't say sure. Yeah, that's going to go great, because that would, I would be lying, and that would be bad.
What is your role in Pure Steam?
Right now, I am editing things sort of as they are drafted, and we've kind of, I think, shifted how we're producing things. We've started a Patreon for Pure Steam as well recently, which is another link I probably should have sent you.
This is why I am simplifying my stuff. Like Facebook, I'm trying to fade away from Facebook because there's so much to keep up with.
Yeah, it's a lot. But we have a Patreon for Pure Steam, and for our patrons, what they're getting is we're trying to send out something a month, and it's going to be a smallish PDF. The one that we just sent out was it was the Wood Booger, and it was stats for a couple of monsters that are sort of flavored on Bigfoot, and Devil Monkeys, which is based on a cryptid that is local to Southern Virginia. Devil Monkeys, you know?
I'm not familiar with them.
I'm not overly familiar with them, but I know that it's sort of a chupacabra type
Gotcha.
thing that's said to exist in the area. So we just sort of, we statted them out, and we had some art done. We've got a couple of new artists that we're working with that we've met, and that's pretty fantastic. I'm always looking for new artists, but the ones that we wind up going with are these guys that they're young and they're kind of hungry, and they're looking for, they want to have stuff in their portfolio, so we can get them to do a few things for us. It doesn't cost us a whole lot,
Right.
but their quality is always very good because there are so many incredibly talented visual artists. Which, I mean, it kind of sucks to be a visual artist, I guess, because that's a awfully big pool with so many fish in it. But
Well, it's no different from writers or musicians, etc. It's
I suppose that's true. You have to define yourself. The next thing that we're sending out is we've got a guy who's been writing adventure paths, because we've had this catalog of adventures that we run at cons for years, and it's kind of stayed static for an awfully long time. And we kind of decided that those were getting a little stale, because we, when we go to Gen Con every year, we, we're really proud of this. We have people who come back every year because we have good GMs. The games are fun, and there's no higher compliment to us than we enjoy playing your game, so we're going to come play with you again. And so then 3 years in a row, I'm running the same adventure, and it's like, oh, I did this last year, and so
I've got a buddy for you. He just contacted me yesterday. He did a role-playing game which is up on Drive-Thru RPG for another company, and he contacted me going, hey, can I come on your show? And I'm like, actually, we have Gaming Wednesdays, which is perfect. So, and I'm like, and I know a couple guys who have games and they need more content, so I might put you in contact with him. And he is at the point where he's not necessarily looking to charge a ton of money, if any. He's looking to build his gaming portfolio. So yeah, I might put him in contact with you and give you some help and give him some help at the same time.
Yeah, that might work out. We're right now, what we're working on is getting these adventure paths polished and put out. I'm writing this guide for game masters, specifically geared toward people who want to run something in a steampunk setting, because I found that has considerations. I mean, there aren't resources for that specific thing. Not in the way that I'm talking about. And then we're working on expanding Pure Steam in a couple of different directions, because the two books that we have out are, we've got the one which is sort of the East Coast, the main book, and then we have sort of the Westbound supplement, which is Wild West kind of stuff.
Nice.
And it's really cool, and I'm really proud of it. And then we have, we're doing, the next one is going to be Skybound, I think, which is going to be airships, and we're finally going to tackle the airship pilot trope, or airship pirate trope, I mean to say.
Both.
I mean, you need pilots as well. And we're going to do a Corebound book, which is going to be Jules Verne Underdark, sort of. And I'm looking forward to that one.
Journey to the Center of the Earth type situation?
Yeah.
Okay, you going to cover the ocean-going stuff at the same time?
Well, there's going to be a Seabound book as well, and I'm at this point not clear on exactly what the order of these things coming out is going to be.
I understand.
I think Seabound is the next one, and then we've got the Corebound and the Seabound coming up after that, and then we're not sure. We're also working on, it's going to be another campaign setting, totally different from Pure Steam, and it's going to be I don't think we're going to do Pathfinder at all. I think it's just going to be for 5th edition. And it's going to be called Metalcore, and it's going to be... we did our first play test of it last year at Gen Con, just us sitting around in the hotel, or it wasn't a hotel, it was a... What's that thing where you rent out your house?
Oh, bed and breakfast. Airbnb.
Airbnb.
We were in a house, and we're sitting there, and...
Yeah, that also brothel.
Yeah. No.
No. My bad.
Unfortunately. So we were... I'm trying to think of the pop culture parallel. The original conceit was that we were going to kind of go off of Starship Troopers,
Okay.
and have Space Marines and giant bugs.
So
but then when we
book or the
actually played
movies?
test, the movie
Okay.
definitely,
Okay.
because the book I don't know about that book.
Really? I enjoyed the hell out of it because of
I-
social commentary.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like, I think the book it's largely played straight. I mean,
Mhm.
came off as pretty sincere, and then the movie sort of turned the book on its head, and
It's
I
fun.
don't-
It's fun and fast. It's 3 chapters out of the book,
yeah,
and no, it's definitely, especially as you get into part 2 and 3, where it just gets super ridiculous. And don't expect a lot, but go have a good time.
one of the movies that I haven't seen yet actually has the suits in it, and I think that would be neat to see. But then again, it might also be really disappointing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's how you go in. You know, check your expectations at the door, and go enjoy
Yeah.
the movie, and then you're okay. But if you go in there, it's kind of like the superhero movies. Just go enjoy a movie, and you'll be okay. You go in there looking to find a piece of art, you're gonna have long conversations with one side or the other being angry.
Yeah. And anyway, the game
Yeah.
played sort of like it almost had more of a Stranger Things vibe to it.
Okay.
Than anything else. Only instead of playing children, you're playing special forces, sort of Navy SEAL types.
You know,
So,
did you ever
in fifth
play? Go ahead.
in 5th edition rules, it worked a lot better than I thought it would.
You ever play Call of Cthulhu?
I have, yeah.
I think if you took Call of Cthulhu and blended that feel, that atmosphere, into the Starship Troopers type overlay, I think that'd be fun. If you know, instead of just, oh, we're going to blast bugs, have more than what people realize is there. You know, there's something more, and you can keep it sciencey. You don't have to go metaphysical. But hold on, I got to get a tamper so I can clear this draft hole. Look at my pretty tamper.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
I couldn't, and I have a nice one. I have like one of the Sheffield pipe knives, and I couldn't find it. It's not under that.
I just packed this pipe too tight. I don't know it well enough to know how to pack it perfectly yet.
I've just got one of these ugly horse nail things.
I love those. They're just, when you could pay $1 for your pipe nail and not cry when you lose it because you paid $1 instead of $5 or $20 or whatever for the fancy ones. It's there's something to be said for it. Simplicity again.
I like using a golf tee.
I have something similar right here. It's a square pipe nail that looks like a golf tee. But I've used carriage bolts and stuff. The problem with a carriage bolt is it's curved, so you're pushing the center down more than the outer edges.
Yeah.
And it's not perfect, so it's.
I'm a big fan of corncob pipes, and there's a website called Aristocob that sells a lot of corncob pipes, and with every order they pack a golf tee with the website logo on it.
Nice.
And I eventually lost it, but I was so taken with that idea because I'd never thought of it. I was like, boy, this is perfect, especially to go with your corncob pipe, because the whole point is to use something, cheap and fast.
Are we back on the brothel thing?
Oh, we can be. I'd love to be, but
It's.
I'm limited,
I feel they should be legalized. Not because I want to attend one, just because the whole thing of, why can't you charge for something you can give away for free?
Yeah.
Looking, here we go. Okay. I'm going to send a link over to you. And I'll also post it over here in the Twitch. But this is Ian, one of our regular listeners. He sent this to me. It's all corncob pipes. And there's some nice stuff there. And I'm not a big corncob guy. My biggest problem with corncob pipes is if you take the filter out, the draft hole is so big you're sucking tobacco at some point in time. But there that is, and you can check that out when you get a chance. They've got some pretty cobs.
Oh boy, those are lovely.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's like their Hobbit type collection, and then they have regular ones also. But
I dig this wizard thing. I dig this wizard one.
Yeah.
Sort of a church warden with a really deep bowl.
Yeah.
That's a sitting and thinking pipe right there.
It is. And for $26, hey.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Nah, that's a good price. It's
the problem with mixing something like 5th edition and Call of Cthulhu is that I feel like there is a conflict of the central ethos there. And I think that would creep into the gameplay. The whole point of Lovecraft horror is that your main characters are powerless in the face of it. And the whole point of Dungeons and Dragons is that you're basically playing a fantasy superhero and somebody who can ultimately defeat the evil. And you wind up with I don't know. It's like when you're in middle school and your friend wants to run a game and his character is Sauron, and it's.
I remember.
The game's. Yeah.
In middle school, one of my buddies went, he just saw Labyrinth. He's like, I want to run a game like Labyrinth. And as I'm playing this, I'm like, so all I have to do is do what I remember in the movie, and I'm going to succeed. Which, that sounds great in practice, but then we had going into the Labyrinth, where you've got the maze and everything. Success was based on rolls, and if you didn't get the roll, you did not find the next part. So I remember that one part so bogged down, and we're just being whittled away by little encounters and everything, that it's almost doomed to failure, because he was going by the rolls instead of as a DM going, okay, and you got through that.
Yeah, he wants to co-op that story and tell it himself.
Yeah, which would be okay if you felt like it was more a sandbox situation where you could. But the only solution to anything is exactly what happened in the movie. But then he's relying on dice rolls for success.
Mm-hmm.
And
this is why Dungeons and Dragons is so much better after you're an adult, because you can get away from the whole thing being a power fantasy.
Yeah.
For the running the game, and you have, I guess you fantasize about different things when you're an adult, like brothels, for example.
I probably named this episode the wrong thing then, if considering this reoccurring theme we've got going.
Brothels and more brothels.
There you go.
Oh my.
Oh, let's go to this poker. That's what I'm going to smoke next.
Oh, that's cute. I like that.
It's good, heavy and solid, fits well in the hand. It's too heavy to clench for long, but you can clench it long enough to, do something else briefly. I'm going to put another song of
We're still on the brothels.
Well, Well, I have a couple choices, considering we're talking about brothel. Should I go with Cold or the Dry Expanse for the next song?
Those are both really awful songs for brothels. Um, the Dry Expanse, we were talking about Pure Steam, and the Dry Expanse is a track off of the Westbound soundtrack, which is on. I don't have a physical copy of that one, but if you go to, because I have the two Bandcamp links, there's the one that's for my label, and then there's the one that's the independent stuff. And the Pure Steam stuff is all released independently because my agreement is, my allegiance with that is to Pure Steam, not to the label.
Right.
So you can go to the SoftServo music.bandcamp for that stuff. So why don't you go ahead and play that since we plugged it, and while you're playing it, I'm going to go pee.
Very good.
Quickly, I'll be right back. And get more coffee so that I have to pee again. I'll be right back.
And Andrea, I'll go ahead and mute us until he gets back, okay?
I'm going to mute.
Okay. You want to unmute yourself? We'll talk over the last minute or two of this.
Hey, that little Twitter says on mine. It says network error. It is on. So I don't know if that's
What?
I tried to.
Hold on a second.
I can't hear anything. Yeah, it's not working.
What's not working, Andrea?
Twitch.
Okay. Andrew, would you do me a favor real quick? Make sure you're not hooked to the velocity at all.
No, it's working now.
She's breaking up.
Mm-hmm. You hearing everything okay there, Benton?
I can hear everything but Andrea.
Mm-hmm. Same here. She's gonna reconnect real quick. No, she's just gonna reset her connection there.
I got bigger. I can see that my nose ring is crooked.
I didn't even realize you had one in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this one, Benton.
It's
Yeah, Andrea, we can hear you a little better now. You're skipping a little bit still, though. I tell you what, Benton, I like that. It's you do get good atmosphere work. Hey, there's the Green Goblin. Good to see you. How are you? Been a while since we've seen you. It's just so you know, we're here with Benton Spiker. I don't know if you're one of our guys or one of his guys or girls. It's
there we go. Now I'm allowed to chat.
there you go.
I tried to make a comment earlier.
It's probably because you weren't following. I have it set so, you know, if you
It
can
was
chat.
because I hadn't verified my email address.
Gotcha. Yeah, that'll do it too. It's check out Green Goblin here. See what we know about them. It's they do have their own little thing. Looks like they do some Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh, he's a local here.
I think I need to stay off of.
What's that, Andrea? You're skipping bad.
No.
Hey, thanks for the subscription.
Okay, that.
Oh, it's Steven from VendeliaCon. Good to see you, buddy. He's a good one. He's the sound guy from VendeliaCon. Did I totally freeze up, everybody? Benton, you still with us? Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
You were just sitting still. Okay. He's the sound guy from VendeliaCon. Andrew's still having blocking issues there. It's I tell you what, Steven, you might want to mention Benton to Brett and the captain, because he does Pure Steam, which is a steampunk role-playing game, electronic music, writes soundtracks for the role-playing game, just does a ton of stuff, and he's got a lot of stuff to offer, and enjoys the steampunk community in the sense of, you know, the role-playing game. And as you just heard some of his music there, which as I can really see adding your stuff to my writing playlist, the stuff that I have as atmosphere when I'm writing. I don't like a lot of lyrics because it pulls me out of what I'm focusing on. So this is nice.
I've really grown away from music with lyrics for some reason.
I like it.
I mean,
the mood is right, but yeah, there's times, you know, instrumental is the way to go.
I can't write lyrics to save my life. I think it's because I have a degree in English. I can't live up to my own.
I can see where that would be a problem. It's so Steven there is saying just send him a message and he'll see about, because it's too late for this year. If I'm not mistaken, this year it's the same time as Steampunk Empire Symposium, but it would be significant closer for you, because actually next year VendeliaCon is moving next year, isn't it, Steven? So yeah,
I would love to go do some different conventions and meet some different people, because I've been doing the same few every year, and the same people are there. Like at Mysticon, they had me at Mysticon just running games, but it was the same people that are at Mysticon every year.
Right.
It was the same stuff that is at Mysticon every year, and I just didn't I didn't feel all that great physically after my first game that I ran there, and I just wound up not coming back.
I didn't see you again the whole weekend after our little hangout in the main lobby there. So do you play music while running a game? Do you set up your soundtracks?
I do. I know that there are people who go more into it than I do. But depending on what I'm running, I use a lot of stuff that I didn't write.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the mood of the game. And what I'll do is I'll have 2 or 3 playlists set up, and ideally I will have sat around and thought about them long enough that each one is going to be about an hour long. And I'll have like one for town and one for dungeon and one for fighting, and that's about it. And I'll just sort of switch the playlists as I go, instead of having specific songs for specific things, which is I think a lot of people do that. And then of course there's this what's it called? You get like a mixer board app, and you can fade things in and out. Hell,
I think I need one of those.
Well, Sirenscape.
Okay.
Sirenscape, and I just think that's really cool. I need to figure out if they want me to do stuff for them, because that's a really cool idea.
See, I have been doing soundtracks for my games since the mid to late 80s. And that was back when we had, tape, and I would go get, soundtracks and build a playlist on, and then have to flip the tape, and I had the dual cassette thing so it can play longer. And I remember I had the Terminator 2 soundtrack, and whenever I'd start that up, or that song would come on, the dun 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 dun, my players' eyes would go wide. They're like, oh fuck, what's coming up? They learned to be terrified. I also taught them to be terrified of Sturges. Do you remember Sturges?
Sturges?
They're like bat mosquitoes.
Oh.
The size of a volleyball, and they're just huge. And everybody's like, oh, they've got like 4 hit points. But after a combat, when you're attacked by a dozen, and they're draining you, so you're losing stats and everything. Yeah, my players very respectful of small creatures. And kobolds were another one which were fun to play with, because they're these little dinky things, one-on-one, straight-up combat. You tear through them. But if you walk into their lair where they have their tricks and traps and dark corners, and they will pick apart a group. And I always enjoy it.
It's worse to fight 100 monsters with 1 HP than it is to fight 1 monster with 100 HP. Because the 100 monsters... That's 100
beautifully with that.
Yeah.
I was pleased with how they changed the minor changes they made to the armor class system, to where those 100 creatures with 1 hit point are a large threat to your 10th level fighter or whatever. Instead of, oh, they can't even touch me, I'll just sweep right through them. Yeah, I like that. Or, the dragon, you can have a village attack a dragon, and there is a chance the village will win with the current system, whereas previously... So does that answer the question of... What, Green Goblin? What, Steven? We're waiting breathlessly. Take him a few seconds to get through the delay and reply. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck? Man, can you imagine the dinner you get out of 1 horse-sized duck?
1 horse-sized duck would be terrifying. Is it a male duck?
With its coily little winky?
Yeah, because that makes it... You know what? It doesn't matter. I would definitely fight 100 duck-sized horses, and what I would actually do is fight 99 of them, and then tame the last one and keep it as a pet.
That would be like the lap giraffe that Andrea likes so much from the insurance commercial a couple years back.
Oh yeah, that was adorable.
It was. Andrea, are you muted?
Yeah, because you can't hear me anyway.
Okay, well, you're clear now. Your picture has cleared up, and so apparently whatever cloud was going across our signal. See, Benton, we're in the middle of nowhere, and the way we
There's
broadcast
cows.
is off our phone plan's hotspot. And I got a cellular booster with the Kickstarter, so now I could do the minimum. But if I bring up other tabs, our bandwidth degrades, and this is why I'm like not on Facebook and not on all these other things. I'm just doing what we're doing right now, which on the other hand is kind of nice because it lets me focus on this.
Wow.
That's why I post everything.
Hmm.
So, there we go.
Yeah, I'm hooked up to the house hotspot. She uses her phone as a hotspot, so she's on separately, a different bandwidth, if you will. And when the temperature drop, it breaks down a little. Good time.
What we do to keep warm in Virginia is we use our hotspots.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did just see something. Elon Musk just got clearance to do a bunch of low atmosphere satellites for high-speed internet. Now we're looking at like 2022 to 2025 before the whole system is up and running. But yeah, I'd love to be able to switch over to something a little more reliable. Though this is more reliable than what we had previously. When it comes to like HughesNet, screw those guys. They're horrible.
Yeah, that was an option when I lived out on the Eastern Shore. I'm familiar with HughesNet.
I had it in 2007, and I would play World of Warcraft while on Skype over HughesNet. But I think what's happened is they've gotten that many more subscribers and never put another satellite up. So your bandwidth now is just so split up and chewed to hell with everybody on it out here in backwoods Cowtown.
Yeah. So what else? What other kind of music are you using when you run games?
Well, it varies. By the way, let's see. Stephen asks, Google Loon did something similar in Puerto Rico with hot air balloons. Interesting. It sounded like, huh. When I run Star Wars, of course, it's a different soundtrack playlist than when I run Dungeons and Dragons. Or when I run a steampunk-based game, it's different from either of those. There are some that make it into all of them. For example, the Terminator 2 soundtrack fits well in all of them. The Gladiator soundtrack fits well in all of them. Now, when I'm playing a medieval fantasy, I will have multiple playlists for it because I have a lot of Ren Fair music. So when you're in a town, I could put up, some of the classic Irish pub-type songs done all acoustic. But then I'll also have like the nature soundtrack set up, so if they're in the rain, I can throw up the rain, 45-minute track, or the birds singing if they're traveling cross country. And then when it switches from like that background ambient noise to a sudden, Terminator 2 or whatever, they're like, oh, what is that?
Especially the cats, because they like the bird sounds. And then they're like, what? Yeah.
So, yeah, it varies. The combat stuff tends to... the Terminator 2 is sticking in my head with this one, but there is a lot more in there. Sleepy Hollow soundtrack and whatnot. That's good for there. A lot of Danny Elfman stuff is good for a general dungeon crawl feel or that sort of thing. Who did Nightbreed? That wasn't Danny Elfman that did the Nightbreed soundtrack, was it? So yeah, it's if you're going into the pub, I'll have the Ren Fair music where you get the different songs, and the hardest part is the sound leveling, because you don't want it so much that it disappears into the background, but you don't want it enough that you have to talk louder over it when you're running a game. But players respond well to it, whether they realize they are or not. It definitely helps set a mood, and I remember I went and created a soundtrack for my main core gaming group in my late teens, early 20s, and I made a copy for each one of them, and it was a dual disc thing, and they each had a song dedicated to their character or renamed for their character, which I put the original name of the song on the sleeve that I made for everybody, because I wanted them, if they're like, wow, I really like that music, what the hell is it for real, instead of just my character's song. It adds something. It's just like with all the Ren fairs I've done and the medieval reenactment, I have swords, and then I'll collect the little liquor bottles, the mini liquor bottles, and put, just food color with water in it or whatever, so they can have different, when I put a potion down. And then later I tell them, yeah, you want to dump that out after a while, because it's still a biological material you want to get rid of at some point in time. But, the little plastic gems for treasure, or the little glass ones that we put in our potted plants, when you toss that down in a dice bag, and they're like, oh, I found gems. I probably spent more time than I should making props, buying the little fake plastic gems that people make jewelry out of and gluing two of them together because they're flat on the back.
Right.
And being able to toss out, an actual treasure pouch, or pick up at the thrift store or the flea market, you pick up that little jewelry box that looks like a chest and you fill it with stuff, and they're just like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's plastic coins from Mardi Gras or whatever.
He still kind of does this for the games. Not quite as much because they become cat toys. But it's still fun.
It's also...
Yeah, I've never gone to that much trouble. What I have done is I've sought out a lot of old school style line art, and then I'll have that on my screen, and I'll put those things out, and I'll have that around, and it sort of creates an ambiance in the theater of the mind.
Right.
They sort of understand the tone that I'm going for by the way that I have laid things out, and the way that I really go overboard probably in describing things in game.
Yes.
Depending on what I want them to focus on, and I always wind up doing the same thing, which is at some point during the adventure, I just want somebody to look at me and go, "Dude, that's really fucked up."
No, I get that. It's what I'd love to do now. A 3D printer would be great, but I'd love that table with the 48-inch TV, flat screen underneath, the gridded out plexiglass. I'd love to be able to do that, and I don't have the space or the money. But one day, I want that room just for the gaming, and then you sit down at the table and you have the laptop hooked up to the monitor, and you can drop the map there and everything.
I have had a thought about this, and I haven't been able to try it yet. But here's an inexpensive solution to that. I have a projector that I bought on Amazon, and it's a cheap Chinese thing, and it costs like $60. And then I have a Raspberry Pi that I could tape to it. And what I was thinking of, because I've got downstairs in my basement where we do a lot of the gaming, I've got, we play around a ping pong table, and I thought, well, I could just lay out the gridded battle mat, right, and then I'd have to play with the distance and the zoom and everything on the projector, but suspend the projector from the ceiling.
Yeah. And
tape the battle mat down and have everything so that it's not going to move. And then I can control the Raspberry Pi from a portable mouse and keyboard.
What is a Raspberry Pi?
A Raspberry Pi, it's a little computer. It's a little single board computer. Hang on, I've got one right here. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
Play a song.
Oh, play a song. Let's do that.
I really thought it was the Raspberry Pi. I want dessert.
Jamin, are you listening, buddy? RW Mac, are you here?
Are you talking to me?
I was asking if any of the other folks here. Raspberry Pi is a blank canvas in the tech world. And by the way, I'm playing with Finally.
Okay, yeah. Hopefully nobody from the RIA is listening to that one.
Do you want me to switch it off for you?
No, I want you to play it.
Okay.
I was being dry. This is it. This is a Pi 3, right? And it's in a little case, a little fan, and I use it to watch YouTube on my TV. It's got a whatever this is called, Ethernet, and then it's got USB ports. It runs Linux. It runs off of a USB port. It's got an HDMI out, and yeah, when you buy it, it's you just get the board, and then I've got this in a funny little case. Which
Thank you, Skipper, for cheering bits.
Yeah, Green Goblin's apparently familiar with them. You can do whatever your heart and skills allow. It's that skills part that's my rough point.
I actually bought my Raspberry Pi to be a print server for my 3D printer, which is now broken in my basement. So
next to the ping pong table.
Yeah, need to get a new extruder head for my 3D printer.
Tell you what, in the late 90s, early 2000s, I wanted to just get one of those old overhead projectors like we used to have at school.
Uh-huh.
And just get the acetate sheets that I can, and then dry erase markers. But get the acetate sheets with a permanent grid on them, put them up on the sheet on the wall or the screen, whatever I could get a hold of, and draw the map out. And I'm not opposed to that kind of old tech style either. It's there's a charm to hands-on stuff, and I appreciate that, Skipper. Thank you, buddy. When gaming, given enough money and space, I could do some good stuff. But I never want it to overshadow the storytelling, which that's why I like the White Wolf system. It lent itself so much to storytelling and character over a dice roll. And of course the mechanics of the game itself, where you roll as many dice as you have stat and skill put together.
Have you played Fate? You'd like it. Fate is it's really neat. It reminds me of White Wolf a lot, only it's even simpler.
Okay.
It has one mechanic that really sets it apart, but your basic skill rolls.
Steven, have a good one. Thanks for jumping in. And Skipper, I'll keep in mind that you got the overhead projector. Okay, go on there, Benton.
So you can hold on. Yeah. So your skills, you have sort of a little chart of skills. And so you're going to have something that you're great at, which is your +5 skill, and you've got a couple things that you're good at, which is +4, +3, +2, and it's like a little pyramid.
Gotcha.
And then whenever you do a skill roll, you have 4 of fudge dice, which it's a 6-sided die, and it's got 2 pluses, 2 blanks, and 2 minuses on it. And you roll 4 of those. Every roll is 4 fudge dice. And you're going to get a number between -4 and +4, but because of the bell curve on these dice, you're generally going to get between, 1 and -1 on most of your rolls.
Gotcha.
And so how well you succeed really depends on wherever on the pyramid that specific skill is, and that's how you resolve all of your skill rolls. And there's really only 4 actions, like when you're in combat, and it's like you can attack, you can defend, you can create an advantage, or you can overcome an obstacle. And but the thing that really sets it apart is this idea of aspects. In the game, they're called aspects and skill points, or fate points. So an aspect is a situational thing, and it could be literally anything. It could be the room is dark. It could be you have a bad knee.
Right.
It could be that I've got a special tool. It could be literally any situational thing, which you can invoke or have invoked against you, and this is where the fate points come in. So if you want to invoke something, you have to pay one of your fate points, or the game master can compel something on you, which means you get a fate point. And you can use those, the players can use those, and they're literally bargaining chips to make the story go in a certain direction.
Star Wars does something similar. You have dark side, light side points. And basically, the beginning of the game, you roll a dice to see how many of each you are on the table. And then you lay out your little things. And when you use a light side point, which that's what the players can use, you flip it, and it's now a dark side point that the NPCs, the bad guys, can use. And yeah, it could be anywhere from, did I remember to bring that rope so we can climb this cliff? Well, I'm going to flip one of these to make sure, yeah, it's in my bag. Or it could be something like, I want to flip this because I want to disarm them instead of, injure them, or whatever. It allows storytelling on the player's part in addition to on the game master's part to, like a fate point, influence something more.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that. Star Wars is also nice because none of their dice have numbers. You basically have successes and failures, and you roll whatever your stat is with the positive dice, and then you have negative dice, which are put in there depending on your range and other modifiers, such as, it's a dark room or you have a bad knee, etc. And it's great because you can fail in what you're doing but gain an advantage. So you might miss the person, but you shot the communications console so they can't call for backup. Or, you miss the person, but the shot went wild and it attracts the eye of the local authorities who's going to rush in and help you, or whatever situational thing you could bring in. It allows a lot more for the storytelling, which is, to me, so much more important in a role-playing game, and people forget role is R-O-L-E, not R-O-L-L.
Right.
So
I mean, that's a real trend in gaming in general, is that we want things that are simpler and more streamlined, and because there's like 3 ideas that all crowded in at once in a bottleneck, but Pathfinder 3rd edition, there's so much stuff that you have to know to play the game. And 2nd edition was like that. There was just so much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So much you had to know and understand, and it seemed very arcane, and it appealed to people who liked that. That was the audience. And then we have this board game renaissance come through, and people like my girlfriend has never been much of a gamer, and then I got her interested in recently I got her interested in playing Magic with me, and because I'd play it and I would talk about it, and I was like, all right, you need to just try it. So I sat her down with a couple of decks and we played it, and now she's like spending money on it and she's into it, which is awesome. And now she can beat me without me having to try to lose, which is really, that's pretty cool. But she always looks at me and she goes, Ben, this game has too many rules. Why do these games have so many rules?
There's been times I've sat down with a new game with, whether it's my son and Andrea or other friends, and we pull out the rules, even like Munchkin, and I'm like, geez, we've got 20 minutes of reading to do before we can even start playing.
Mm-hmm.
And now if somebody knows how to play it, yeah, let's scan the rules and then you tell us what to do, and then we'll look at the rules again after the first game.
Yeah.
And it's nice
Well,
to just...
I like Red Dragon Inn because it's fairly simple. There's like 4 steps, and it's right there on the board. It's fun.
That's always nice. I remember when Magic had their play mats with the steps in it, and that's helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've been playing Magic for so long that the whole turn just feels reflexive to me, and I really have to stop and remember. And you know what else? Like, I left Magic for several years and then came back to it,
Mm-hmm.
and the amount of jargon and slang that Magic players use just sort of quadrupled in that time.
Mm-hmm.
So much. And I think that's more difficult than the rules. Is learning all the terminology and slang. Like, I remember coming back to it, and people were like, "Oh, you're playing Rakdos," and I was like, "What the fuck is Rakdos?"
Yeah.
I don't know. There's
I'm
like
still stuck on, I've got a swarm deck or a power deck. Or what is it they call the blue decks, which make you discard and
control.
Yeah,
right?
Control deck, yeah. I tend to call it an FU deck, but yeah, it's a control deck. That's the correct term.
Showing your age, man.
Well, I started playing in 92 or whenever it came out. I remember the first release. And
Yeah.
yeah, as much as I enjoy it, I I'm not one of those guys that sits at the table and I watch people play. They go flip, 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 twist, 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 pop, 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 13 damage. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
mill deck. Yes, thank you, Henry. It's I'm like, hey, can I read your card? And they look at me and just give a heavy sigh, like, oh, you're that guy. I'm like, yeah, I'm the guy that hasn't memorized all your shit. Sorry. I didn't even follow what the hell you did. You turned like 5 cards and put 3 cards out, and what? I'm here for a good time. I don't know what you're doing.
My good Magic story. I got back into Magic because I was the coach of like an academic team at school, and then I left that because it sucked. And then I wound up getting involved in like the tabletop gaming club at my school, and now I'm self-conscious telling the story because Henry is my teacher friend that is also like he's the boss head chieftain of the clan. But there'd be a bunch of these kids who sat around and played Magic, and I was like, and I would just sit down and watch them a couple times, and they were like, Spiker, do you ever play Magic? Yeah, I've played Magic. Oh, you need to bring your deck. You need to bring your deck. And I was like, maybe. We'll see. And I eventually wind up bringing my deck, and the one that I had at the time was all green.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that the deck worked was you get a ton of mana in the first couple turns, and then you can play all these big creatures way too early.
Right.
Woo, he says. And these kids were all new at it. Like, they'd only been playing for a couple of months. And so they were like, well, we're going to play like a 4-way game. Okay, fine, whatever. And so then I'm sitting there playing cards, and then they're not taking me seriously because I'm not doing anything. I'm just playing.
You're building.
I'm just building mana base. And then I play 3 or 4 cards, and I lay out all these creatures. And then I was like, oh, by the way, and I play another card, Overrun, which gives like all my creatures +3/+3 and trample.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I for 35 damage at you, and you're dead. And the kid. One of the kids looks at me and goes, how did you do that? And I picked up some old 4th edition card and I said, son, this card is older than you.
True story.
I had my badass old man moment.
Yeah. It's, and also I play these things for fun. So, my Swarm deck is a squirrel deck. And it doesn't play as quick as it should because I want goofy cards in there that I probably should take out just to streamline the damn thing. But, hey, thank you, Skipper. Here's to you, buddy. When they throw bits on Twitch, it's essentially throwing coins at us. And they're only like a penny a bit.
But every penny adds up.
Yeah, especially since you don't get paid till a couple months later. So, it ends up with a significant little tip jar full there. And if you look on the screen, you'll see we have the pint glass there. And that's what the bits fall into. And it fills up. And last night we had one person throw 1,000 bits right as the cup was almost full. And it splashed the cup, and it was like halfway empty once like her bits hit it because it just blew up.
Oh, it's so funny.
Right on. That's pretty cool. This all seems. There's so much information on the screen.
There is. It can be a bit overwhelming, and on one hand, I like to keep it simple. On the other hand, there's certain amounts of what I want up there. So, yeah. By the way, Henry there says, keep it fun. Why make it to win if you don't have fun with it? I agree. I'm not about ego and competition. And Skipper says, haven't played since 4th edition.
Skipper, those were the days, man, in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
If you still have any of your old...
cards from the 90s.
What's that, Anna?
I have cards from the 90s in my deck. They're
And then you have to check cards from the 90s in her deck.
Oh, yeah. I have, it's amazing what has retained its value, and it's amazing what has gained value since then. So it's worth going through and looking at your collection if you still have it, and being... Just so you know, like, there's one card that I got in a pack, and I just sort of had it in a deck, and I was like, this is a good card, and, I'm glad I have it, whatever. And then when I get back into Magic, I'm looking at the value of my cards. I come find out this card's worth like $250.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Who knew? And it's because it wasn't worth that much back in the day, but now in some format, Legacy, where they use older cards, this card gets used in some of the top tier decks, and so it's very sought after for that reason. And
Because
I was stunned.
it becomes a combo card, which, as much as I love a couple cards that do this awesome thing together, I've never been the one to build the deck that if you don't get these 3 cards out, you're not going to win. But if you get these 3 cards out, you're going to dominate the table. Also, I'm that guy that goes, oh, here's a really cool card, and somebody will hand it to me, and I'm like, there's like a whole paragraph of information on this. I can't play this card. And they're like, what? I'm like, no, it's just too much. Give me Trample.
Luxury.
Yeah, it is. And,
Yeah.
I know I could learn it, but I don't want to.
Do you remember the old Kismet Stasis combo?
It sounds familiar. Refresh me. I want to say that's blue, isn't it?
White and blue, and Kismet was like everything comes into play tapped, and Stasis was like nothing untaps ever.
Yes,
and so
yes, I remember that.
Freezes the entire game, and I remember playing a Kismet Stasis deck that was designed to make the other person forfeit, which was fun a couple times, and then those cards found better homes elsewhere. I wish I still had them so that I could rebuild that deck so that I could go play against high school students.
With that combo, that's where you play the mill deck, which makes the other person discard 3 or 5 or whatever, and you just make them run out of cards as you sit there, slapping the next blue out, because creatures came out tapped, but that doesn't mean your enchantments didn't work, or your sorceries, or interrupts. And what was the other thing? Because they took interrupts out and just narrowed it down, because they had 2 that was so similar. Interrupts and instants.
Instants and interrupts, yeah.
Yeah, and they eventually went, well, we don't need interrupts. Let's take them out of the deck. And yeah. Good times. Let's put another song on in the background here as we chit-chat. Let's see, what do we got next in our list? How about Foundation? Is that a good one for this? Got any story to it?
Foundation is the version I sent you. Hopefully, is the right one. If it starts with banjo, it's not. There's been like 8 versions of this track based on a melody that I wrote that I just really liked, and it took me to commit to one and actually publish it. So
we should tell your creative, your moody artist story again.
Oh God. Yeah, that was embarrassing.
There we go. Flash is the name of creature enchantments that can be played at instant speed. Yeah.
See, Henry one of these days is going to be a magic judge because he can rattle all this stuff off. He's the one who knows all the names for the different clans, and because now they're clans. Each color combination has a name now, right, because they did a set where they did guilds, and each guild was 2 colors, and then if you play a 3-color combination, it's got a name as well, and the words they're not based on anything. They don't have any like recognizable ground. Like the one I remember because it's one I like to play is Red and Black, which is Rakdos.
Right. Well, Rakdos was the one character card. The Henry, what do they call the named characters, which are no color at all, and they're like this super being. You'll rattle it out in a minute, but I lost that thought. Okay, go on, Benton. I don't know what I was saying. I do want to ask about your rose-colored glasses, though. Are they prescription?
Yes.
And you purposely went with rose-tinted glasses for your outfit?
I bought these for my steampunk costume, and then I was like, I'm never gonna wear brown glasses, so I'll just get them with purple rosy lenses, because why not? It'll look good at conventions. And then I got them, and then I just really liked them. Henry, I think he's talking about gold cards from the old sets that were multiple colors, because those used to be a huge.
I am talking about planeswalkers, because then you have like Rakdos was one of them, and there was other and they were color centric. It'd be like the black vampire witch chick, who I can't think of either, and you could build on them, and they had like 3 different levels of power, and when you put enough things on them, you can use those powers.
Yeah, that is Walker. I was wrong.
Yeah, it's I am excited about the new Goof Off set they put out. that was kind of like the cracked ones.
Yeah,
And
those are fun.
the unglued.
Only-
That's what I'm thinking of.
The art on that set, it's called Unhinged, right?
It was
The art
unhinged
that's
and unglued, and the new one is unhinged. The new one, is that what I'm thinking of?
it is the new one.
Okay.
The first one was unglued, and the second one was unhinged, and then this one was it was unglued and unscrewed and
Yeah,
undone. I don't remember.
but yeah, they're unstable.
Unstable.
Yeah, he might be describing us instead of the game. I don't know.
Yes.
But yeah, I just
The
like
answer-
those goofy ass cards. That's where like a lot of I have 2 or 3 of those in my squirrel deck because they're just so stupid. Like, you put a card out and you cover the artist's name, and if the opponent can't tell you the artist's name, this effect goes in, and it's a ridiculous card. Except for people like Henry that memorize it. That's what I was gonna say. Rules lawyers. People always bitch about a rules lawyer, whether it's Magic or Dungeons and Dragons or whatever. I love having a rules lawyer amongst me, because if they're a reasonable person, I can look at them and go, what's the rule on this, so I don't have to look it up. And if they accept that as a game master, I'm going to make a finalized decision, they're just a handy walking encyclopedia.
Why no the two?
Pourquoi no los dos? I don't know.
I don't speak French.
Yeah, I love the unglued too. They were just fun.
I'm gonna spit my tea out on that.
Rules lawyer. It is a card in Unstable, isn't it? Which I have 2 of the draft packs for Andrea and I, so we could play those. And yeah, looking forward to that. Just as silly ass stupid shit. It's just fun.
The set that they're coming out with later this month, Dominaria, is supposed to be a big throwback set, and I'm kind of
nice.
excited about it. I'm going to go to a sealed opening tournament for it because why not the oh, I get it now. Thank you for clarifying, Henry.
What do you teach?
What do I teach?
Yeah.
Technically, I'm a special ed teacher,
Okay.
but I co-teach 9th and 10th grade English.
Well, teaching English
And,
is kind of special ed nowadays.
I've got the oh.
Do you have
We
a
could,
soapbox you want to get on a rant?
I mean, I got one, but I'm on spring break. I just want to keep it in the closet. I enjoy teaching.
Hmm.
I have some existential dilemma with it every now and again, but
Well, we won't go into current events and what's going on with that. That's
oh, thank you.
just a
Appreciate that.
can of worms.
This is
It's spring break.
why I have my rose-colored glasses on.
I like it. I like it.
I think I look pretty dashing in round frames. I need to get another pair of these that have clear lenses so that I can wear them to school, because I can't wear these to school.
Why not?
It would draw too much attention. The kids would want to talk about it too much, and that would get annoying. The cons outweigh the pros.
Yeah, I doubt they'd get the actual initial reference. They'd probably equate it to a character in an anime or something. And
They'd be like, Mr. Spiker, why the fuck are you wearing pink glasses?
oh, that could be it too.
And I'd say, watch your language. And they'd say, what the fuck is up with your glasses, man? Or something like that. And I'd wind up writing a referral to some kid just because I work with glasses that I like. So I'll just wear my other ones. Because I just don't want to bother.
I get you. I get you. At least there are some changes in our society that pleases me. For example, they would be asking, why the fuck are you wearing pink glasses? They wouldn't be like, are you gay? What? Well, pink glasses. We've kind of gotten past that, where you could be more individualistic without your private life being questioned.
Yeah, they question my private life in totally other ways.
Absolutely. It's It's surprising. I know quite a few teachers, and I want to say more than half that I know are actually special ed teachers. And I don't know why that's what I don't know if I gravitate or they gravitate, or I don't know why it's set up that way, but it seems to be.
Teachers are socially kind of an odd set of people. And I think um, in order to be a special ed teacher, you have to be a little strange. And most of us are, in one way or another, just a little odd.
A little
And
extra give a damn.
yeah, and I think those are the kind of people that gravitate towards you, and that you gravitate toward yourself, as people who are just a little different. A lot of teachers are just, and Henry is a good guy. You'd love him to death. But I know a lot of teachers who are just the most boring, normal people I've ever met. And there's that's why socially they're such an odd set, because their life literally is just that they're a teacher.
Right.
That's what they do. Because if you want, teaching can be, that's your social life. That's what you do in your spare time. Especially like elementary school teachers. They do nothing but think about elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
They don't talk about anything except school. And
well, it's a very giving life, and it's a very, you're actively looking to help others, and I think that's probably an attraction of the personality, because I like helping others, and as opposed to you're not doing it out of greed or selfishness. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, you don't do it for the pay.
Yeah, it's not a rock star career where you're doing it for the fame, fortune, and attention. And
you remember that commercial where I think it was an eyeglasses commercial where like, what if we treated teachers like NFL players? And they were like, oh, I have the same glasses as Mrs. Johnson, and they're like playing trading cards with pictures of the teachers on them.
I do remember that, and on one hand, that'd be really kind of, if you're going to pick a role model, there is nothing better than a passionate teacher that loves what they're doing. You do it for the megabucks? Good for you.
Yeah, that's the imaginary currency that we invented, megabucks.
Henry's on the dark side of teaching. He's got the underground teaching going on for the extra money in the back rooms. I got formulas. You need some formulas? and speaking of formulas, I'm going to step away for a minute here, but I'm going to pop on another song. So there's something going, and if you two stay and chit-chat, it shouldn't interfere with what you're doing. So how about Zwek? Is that how I pronounce it?
I can't chit-chat. Nobody can understand me.
Well, that's because you're so complex.
You play the song. Yeah, go ahead and play that, and I'll go get a cup of coffee.
There we go. We'll be right back. Henry, keep everybody amused. We'll be back.
It's all on you, Henry.
A dog and a cat in your lap, huh? Is it a big dog and a little cat, or a big cat and a little dog? And yeah, Sir Skipper, every once in a while I play that lottery. By every once in a while, I mean like every 3 months I'll buy 2 tickets and then forget about it for months. It's all those wires are crazy in his setup. I see a ukulele back there. Maybe we'll get him to pop out a ukulele song live on air. You know, I've always been torn on that, Henry, the giving, yeah, whatever. Lotto tickets as gifts. On one hand, you're potentially giving a whole lot, but in all likelihood, you're giving them a piece of paper they can throw away. Bulldog and a small black short hair. Now, an English bulldog or one of the little teeny bulldogs? So, Benton, I see...
I did not
What's that?
I did not get a lottery ticket.
Oh.
What the fuck?
Are you pagan?
I knew
Is
they
that the problem?
me. The entire English department doesn't like me. They don't think I'm really an English teacher. That's what it is.
So, I have a Facebook group for my writer friends where we discuss things more than just, story structure and everything. But I think I had one of the opening questions to join the group is, how do you feel about the Oxford comma? And I have teased people, like, if you say you don't use it, you're not allowed in.
I don't think that should be teasing. I think you should be completely serious.
Oh, no, I'm willing to bring them in and educate them so they start to use it.
Oh, well. See, this is... you never cease to amaze me with your benevolence.
It's So, I see a ukulele back there.
Oh, yeah.
Do you play?
Yes.
Do you take requests, or is it like when you're DJing, you're all angry at people?
It depends on the request. Is it a song that I know?
I don't know. The only uke song that I ever think to request is "Tiptoe Through the Tulips."
It's actually really difficult.
Is it?
That's a very hard song to play, and it's in a horrible key for me. Even if you don't sing it in falsetto.
Right. Well, can you do some Metallica?
Do some Metallica.
Really?
Can I do?
Free bird.
It's even in tune.
Hold on.
Okay.
I have to. Yeah,
Warm up.
amazing. I have to think of what song I could play. Oh no, it's not in tune.
Oh, okay. And Sir Skipper, that's a great idea. A lottery ticket that looks like a gift tag. That's a great idea. Because then you get a real present with the lottery ticket, in theory.
That's close enough. Button up your overcoat when the wind is free. Take good care of yourself, 'cause you belong to me. Eat an apple every day, get to bed by 3. And take good care of yourself, 'cause you belong to me.
I don't recognize that as Metallica.
I don't actually know any Metallica.
Oh. Can't do Master of Puppets, or Henry requests Enter Sandman in the style of Bob Dylan?
This is where I get in over my head, because I was serious. The reason why the ukulele thing never really stuck with me, it goes back to how I don't really listen to music with lyrics.
How about this? You can do a nice, slow, dark, atmospheric tune that you make up as you go, and then you can narrate the story of the last day of school.
And also there's the nerves factor.
Do you have nerves?
Ostensibly. I have nerves, it's my heart that's dead.
Oh, sweet. Thank you, Skipper. Appreciate that, buddy. Here's to you.
I'm all on Twitch right now because the internet is up, so I had to turn Twitch off.
Gotcha. happy little. Maybe I'll have to bring you and Angela Pritchett on together, and you can have like dueling ukes.
We could do that. Wait.
That would be great.
I need to put a pickup in one, and then I can run it through run it through my reverb effects. Find something that sounds insane.
Can you do I Am Iron Man? Stairway to Heaven. Happy birthday.
I am Iron Man.
Bing, 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 bing. Bing, 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 bing.
How did that go? Let's see.
That's a demon reverb you got going. That's cool.
There we go. That sounds awful.
That's great. I feel like you should do a full horror soundtrack on ukulele now.
Oh shit. Okay. There's an amazing amount of ukulele in the music. A lot of it in the music you've already played. It's just been affected and changed so that you can't tell it's a ukulele.
Nice.
Because I have an electric guitar that I built that I'm very proud of, except it needs to be rewired because it was the first thing that I made with wires and soldering. And on the inside, like all the internal wiring is just copper wire that I ripped out of an old Cat 5 cable.
Uh-huh.
And it's not very well put together, and it has a custom pick guard. I'm looking at it right now. It's over there. That I cut with a Dremel out of a piece of plexiglass and then painted the back of, and it's cracked in places. It needs a little love, but I could get it working again. And I think it only has 3 strings now. And I played electric bass for a long time, and I have a nice electric bass, but I don't. It's a whole lot easier to record the ukulele and affect it to make it sound like I want for some reason. Ukulele.
I like it.
That's the sound of my next album. It's going to be dark ambient techno using exclusively samples that were generated on a ukulele.
I look forward to playing that on air.
We can get
Nice.
now I'm thinking about it, but I could get a good kick, like somehow pitch that down.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Something like that.
I'm liking your little demon voice thing. I'm trying to think of other
Yeah.
uses for it.
There's plenty, I'm sure. I don't know. That's what we need to run games. I just need to have a little microphone and then have speakers around the room, and I can just turn knobs to bring in different effects. And
I mean, how cool would that be if you were running a game and you turned on your little demon voice thing there and played the NPC for a scene? Players would love it.
and I could have like
There's
I can
a
just have
clapping
like
noise. Oh, suddenly I'm transported back to the 80s.
it's all about the analog.
Yeah. Okay, so we got about 50 minutes left in the show. It's 5-0, not 1-5. 5-0. And let's pimp your stuff for a minute. Let's make sure we're getting that out there. So people can hire you to do like their part.
I have posted links.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I
it
have
depends on-
posted links several times in the Twitter.
Oh, good.
Oh, y'all can't hear me.
Yeah, we hear you.
I have posted links to the Pure Steam, to your YouTube channel, to the Bandcamp, all of that. So
Yep.
hopefully they can find you there.
appreciate
But because my Twitch isn't working right now, if you want to post some links, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, you guys all ought to follow my Instagram because that's where I post lots of stuff. And what's that?
Now, are you familiar with how to use a hashtag properly for Instagram?
I've never once in my life used the hashtag.
Instagram, you'll see your stuff. You'll get 2 to 5 new followers daily if you use hashtags properly. It's amazing.
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, Andrea,
And like
educator.
when I put you in the post, I hashtagged indie music, things like that, music, streaming, YouTube. If you tag things like that, you'll get followers.
I should get over myself and do it.
I'm with you. I was the same way until like 2 weeks ago when Andrea had been doing it for a month, and I'm like, and she's like, oh, I got, 3 new followers today, 8 new followers today. Oh, and I'm like, huh. Yeah, it's much more effective than it is. Like on Twitter, if you have too many, it works against you. On Facebook, Facebook's just special.
Facebook is not as big as you think as it used to be. It doesn't do as well. But you could hook your Instagram to your Facebook. So whenever you post on Instagram, it goes to your Facebook. So half the work.
Yeah, and I've got that. Like I've got my Instagram is hooked to my SoftServo Facebook, and so I get stuff up there. And that half that stuff, though, is just like a cell phone video of this thing running some sequence that I cooked up for a minute. But it.
Somebody's gonna like it.
Yeah, I get a few likes on that stuff. And then I've got a SoundCloud, but it's kind of widely known. SoundCloud is it's a joke. You're never going to find any recognition on SoundCloud.
No. 10, 15 years ago, it was something, but it was short-lived and it didn't go far.
Yeah. Most of the time, I do get messages on SoundCloud, and it's usually something like, hey, you want to come tickle my butt or something. I don't know. I'm really bad at.
And you still haven't replied to me about that.
I would be a bad. I would make a horrible sex bait bot to post on social media.
Let me tell you what I do, how I handle them. I get it all the time. And people think I'm a guy. I am not a guy. But these hot chicks message me all the time. So I just send them links to the show channel. So when you get these people saying that, just send them the link to your Bandcamp, your YouTube. There you go.
And you can reply back to them with you want a hot, sexy time, go here. And it goes straight to, one of
That's
those
what I do.
things. And then they reply back with whatever bot answer they have. And it's like, oh, wow.
Yeah, I usually just ignore it. I mean, what's the point?
It amuses me for 30
funny.
seconds. Yeah.
I'm amused.
And I'm hoping there's somebody somewhere checking the bot going, what the fuck did this person send me?
Yeah, I could reply with, I need to photocopy my ass.
Don't we all?
And then I can just have that scan it on my phone, and then I can just reply with that.
There you go.
Here's my butt.
You've already mentioned how hairy you are, so I can only imagine what that would look like.
Yeah, it's one hairy butt.
Well, Travis, you'll find out if he responds to your message.
Yeah.
Right. I have one buddy I grew up with, and he was hairy like a goat, only from the waist down and then the neck up. His upper body is pretty hairless, but he's big and bushy here, and his legs, they look like a satyr. And he always appreciated the jokes when we'd make this. He wasn't upset by the satyr jokes because he'd make them too. And it's a good time.
Kind of bad, really.
Yeah. It's especially for, me being a relatively non-hirsute fellow. It was always a comparison of my pale, pasty legs versus his furry goat legs.
Oh, yeah.
So people can hire you, right? What kind of stuff do they hire you for? There you go. See, I've got tattoos all down there, so the hair doesn't matter anymore.
Push the boundaries somewhere.
That's right.
I don't know what I'm doing. Yes, you can hire me.
What do you get hired for? What do you like to do?
What do I like to do? I like to get paid. So
back to the brothel.
I am to a point where I would, the stuff that I have taken on, the stuff that people have always wanted from me is the dark, moody, atmospheric stuff. That's what I do well, even when I try not to. It always kind of comes out that way. The album that I just released, which is called Dance to This, is I tried to make a techno EP, and it wound up coming out dark and atmospheric. Because it's just, I don't know, I can't get away from it. I think it's because I love reverb so much.
So it'd be good for like a vampire dance club scene in a movie.
Yes, that kind of thing. And then a lot of the music that I listen to that influences me. I'm a huge Aphex Twin fan, even though I'm not nearly as talented as he is. I love his music, and it's very dark at times. I love the like 90s dub techno stuff, and so I listen to a lot of that, and so that comes through my own music because it's dark and stripped down and stuff like that. Bigfoot sighting.
Yeah. Have you seen the Bigfoot mattress commercials?
Yeah.
I've seen them on YouTube, and we're so amused by that. We'll actually watch through the whole 3 damn commercial instead of hitting skip ad.
Yeah.
Because they're just entertaining for us. And the same with the same company does like the Little Red Riding Hood egg test on their beds, and that's entertaining.
You know what? My dream is to do a film score.
Okay.
I would love to do that.
You know what?
And I think I could do a good job. It would be sort of John Carpenter, Vangelis kind of atmospheric stuff, but I would do it for peanuts just because I want to do it.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Have you watched Talk of the Tavern or listened to our show lately?
Not lately. I'm sorry.
We have a co-host, Elizabeth, the pickle lady. She writes screenplays and does movies and things. So, is that who you're talking about, Travis?
That's
maybe?
What I was going to aim for. And by the way, Purple Mattresses. Yes, Henry, that's exactly it. But she makes her own little movies, and she's actually writing screenplays that she's now putting forth towards producers and whatnot. But yeah, it might not be somebody else to know. She makes a little 20-minute short to be able to run a soundtrack to that, because she does Pickleman Productions. So she has Zombie Pickles from Space. It's what she calls family-friendly horror. And she also did Picklezilla. Dillzilla, thank you.
It's awesome. Her little movies. I like Pickleman.
It's a good time, and yeah, your dark atmospheric stuff blended with her family-friendly horror, which has a bit of a comedy twist to it. I think they'd go well together. Make a beautiful dichotomy.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Like I say, I would do it just to do it. I do send a lot of music. I mean, I have a huge catalog of music that I have sent to my label, which is Tape Music and Sound Design. And that stuff is I can't play it for you because it's all in stock music collections.
Gotcha.
Which is going to be sold to people to put in their commercials and things like that. And the label also, I released my latest little EP thing through them because Marcus, a gentleman that runs Tape, would master it for me if I released it through them. And it was just kind of a big experiment to see what I could do. So, I mean, it sounds great because of the professional mastering that I was able to get.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that answers your question.
I don't remember what my question was, so I'm going to say, yeah, you totally answered everything I asked.
Yeah.
I stopped listening to me a while ago, so I don't know what I asked.
So I've got the 2 Bandcamp things, which are kind of confusing that I've got the 2, but one is just me independently, and the other is the stuff that I've got through Market.
Oh. I hate to do this. So are you guys expecting snow down there this weekend? We're supposed to get it up here.
I don't think so.
We had an outdoor event, a cosplay outdoor event we were going to go to and do some stuff as Talk of the Tavern. And when I mentioned, oh yeah, it's going to be, snow in the morning, snow showers in the morning, then switch to rain all day, and then the evening go back to snow. Andrew's like, no, we're not going. Because it's all outdoors, and yeah, we're just...
Yeah, I don't want to drive an hour, and no.
And then sit there in
Just-
bad weather, freezing and miserable, and turn around and, no, we're good.
Damn.
We could stay home and play Magic. It's all good.
There we
Yeah.
go. Absolutely.
Winter needs to end.
What's that?
Winter needs to end. This is ridiculous.
Climate change.
Snow on
Yeah, we have a cocktail party planned, and I hope it doesn't snow for the cocktail party. It's crazy.
We'll see.
Oh,
I brought Easter candy. Matter of fact, these were sent by Skipper. So, got some Mighty Malts. Speckled malted milk and mini eggs.
There's still a little bit left in the basket. I didn't eat it all.
I have to stay out of my kids' Easter baskets.
What, do you fit?
Not always easy. You know, if I fit, I sit.
Very, very catty of you. That'd be great to be able to hide in your kid's Easter basket, and when they reach in, going, "Oh, look what we got!" You jump out screaming.
Yeah, especially they're at home with their own family, you know.
That's very disturbing.
I feel like you could write a soundtrack to that.
Yeah.
There you go.
See, you see the words, Andrea, where it says, "You think we're awesome? We think your face is awesome." When you share bits, there's little messages that appear. They're hard to see with all the crap I have on the screen, though.
Yeah, if you want to throw bits, you don't have to actually pay your money for it. You can watch videos and get anywhere from 5 to 100 bits to throw. That's what I do.
Malted milk eggs.
You know, that's like the only candy I don't like.
Oh, it's okay. I like them lots.
So
It's
I'll
okay.
eat everything else. It's okay.
I'm not big on the peeps.
You know, I used to like them as a kid, but I think, again, going from sugar to high fructose corn syrup, I don't want them anymore.
That's not candy. It's like a doorstop or something. It's not candy.
It wouldn't stop a door. It would leave a big pink smear on the floor. It would be a... That's what they are. They're a mess.
Let them sit out overnight. They get like cement.
I saw a picture the other day that had all these peeps lined up in front of this cardboard castle, and it was labeled with the Battle of Helm's Peep.
Right.
So,
Have you ever done a peep fight?
where you put them in the microwave with the toothpicks and you joust them?
Yeah.
No, I have not, because I clean my damn microwave, and fuck that.
You put it on a paper plate. It's not that bad.
It doesn't blow up all over your microwave?
No, they blow up and then they deflate.
Oh, okay.
Oh, like a moon pie.
The one that deflates first is the loser of the peep fight.
Got
And
it.
then you have a winner of the peep fight, and that's all there is to it.
I imagine this is something Skipper has done multiple times on a large scale. Just like a Braveheart peep scene in his microwave. I don't even know if he's still with us. But we got some new people here popped in. So good to see you. Welcome to our
Nice.
brand new Tuesday broadcast where we discuss music. So it's RW Mech who it says he's here. He is we've seen him on his Twitch channel cooking
Mhm.
with his wife.
Yeah.
And they'll set up the camera in their kitchen and cook and stuff. So I think that was him we saw.
Yeah. It was him.
That's interesting.
On Twitch we have seen somebody just drawing, and they had a camera pointed down to where they're drawing, and they're just kind of chattering along, and there's hundreds of people watching them. We've seen people putting puzzles together. I have seen a cat
There's a
cam.
sleeping cat channel. Yeah.
Yeah, they just aim
The
their camera
cats.
at their cats, turn on their Twitch stream, and put music behind it.
Oh.
There's a Bob
That's
Ross
Yeah, we
channel.
need music so we can do that with our cats.
my music would be good for that because
It-
it puts people to
It would. Okay, guys, let Talk of the Tavern make some money so we could hire him to do a soundtrack.
I have thought about narrating some of which I have done this actually on my YouTube channel, read some of my short stories as a 20-minute video or whatever. And
Mhm.
yeah, it might be good to have some ambient music going across that one.
That's
So,
something else I would love to try. If you want to send me a recording, I would try it once just to do it. Just to see how that works out. It's going to take me forever to do it because it takes me forever to do anything. But
maybe I'll read off some Croker Nord stories and send them over to you. And
So
then I,
he gets book on tape while he works.
then I have to debate. See, most of these, when I read them on YouTube, since it's a video medium also, I will also smoke a pipe and have a brandy or a scotch while I'm doing it. So they almost get the favorite uncle feel reading you a story where he's not just reading, but he's got the pipe thing going.
Favorite
Tapping.
uncle, not creepy uncle.
Yes, the uncle in the good way.
thing.
It's
Hmm.
Oh, what else do we have on our menu of topics? We covered pure steam and gaming, and did card gaming, covered pipes and beard care. And
We can talk about my physical media that's available for sale.
yeah, tell us about that. Hold it up to the camera for us.
So I've got oh shit. I've got two things here. I've got a CD, which I think you played one song. If you played Finally, that's on this one.
I did, yes.
And I've got a bunch of these that are available. And I've got a very limited run of Dance to This on cassette.
Nice. And this,
Wait.
Cassette.
and your next place where you're going to be is Steampunk Symposium in Cincinnati, correct? Side A.
Right. Side A and there is a side B. Which is this was fun because I did it all myself. I just wanted to do it. That sums the ethos up for me. Is what would happen if I just did this, and there you have it. My Steampunk Symposium. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be running a couple of games. We're going to be. I think we're doing a LARP thing. Maybe. I'm not in charge of it. If we are,
Who's
Adam
we?
is.
Okay.
It's gonna be me because I'm not the big brain of Pure Steam. That would be Adam, and he's going to be there. I don't know if it's going to be just the two of us or if there's going to be anybody else. But we're going to be, I don't know if we have a booth because again, this is just not my department.
Right.
I just volunteered to show up and be there. I know that I'm probably going to be running one or two games with pre-gen characters and doing that sort of thing. And I may run it in Fate actually instead of using Pathfinder because I think that would be better suited to the crowd that shows up at a steampunk event.
You ever play Toon, the cartoon role-playing game?
No, I never have.
This was great. It was ultra simplistic. You had 4 stats, and it was like strength, dexterity, chutzpah, and I forget what the 4th one was. Might have been brains or something like that. And you created a classic-esque cartoon. So like Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Tom and Jerry, Woody Woodpecker, those sort of cartoons. And each game was very, very short, 20 minutes to an hour, because you would just have this cartoon scenario like the House of the Future, with the auto vacuum and the auto cleaning, and the whole adventure would be your character going into this house and the house just messing with you the whole time. And you don't die.
Mhm.
Your hit points are 6 plus 1d6. That's your permanent hit points. You get 1 shtick. So it might be quick change disguise. It might be a bag of many things. It might be, super strong, invisible, whatever. 1 shtick. And yeah, you just played a cartoon and you don't die. If you lose all your hit points, you fall down, and you're back in the game, the beginning of the next scene. So you're out of the scene until it ends.
Okay.
But terribly silly, with kind of pointless, but a good time.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's
Called Tune?
Toon. It was a Steve Jackson game.
Of course it was.
And you could still find the PDF here and there, and you can, of course, go on eBay and buy the book for way too much. And I want to say they have new print copies out if you go to, like, Google Steve Jackson Games and find his website. But you're going to pay $30, $40 for a book, which still kills me. But I understand cost versus, yeah.
Yeah. Man, I got to meet Steve Jackson once.
How was that?
That was awesome.
I don't know anything about him. Yeah, come on.
It was at Gen Con, and I was in there in between games, sort of taking a break because I was running like, I don't know, 12 hours of RPG that day.
Uh-huh.
And I had sent Adam out. I was like, hey, go get me a coffee while I'm waiting. And he went and he walked back in the room, and there he's got Steve Jackson with him.
What was he like?
Just walked in the room. He's kind of short. He's a super nice guy. He walked in and he said, "Boy, look at you guys. This is really grown." Because I think Adam had met him at a convention another time, and he remembered us, which was awesome to have the Steve Jackson remember you. And he was like, "You guys, looks like you're doing well." And I was like, "Hey, Mr. Jackson, will you please sign my copy of Ogre?" And he did. And so I have a signed copy of Ogre. And
I used to play a lot of his games. Do you remember Killer?
Killer? Is that one of the car ones? Is that the car one?
That was Car Wars. And Illuminati, he had Bavarian Illuminati as a card game. And they were little teeny cards when they came out back then. And they came in that hard plastic case that you could store them in, which was very cool. And you had all the paper cutouts, and when you'd open your case, you'd have these little chits going everywhere. But Killer was one book, and it was before Nerf guns went big. It was before all this. Basically, it was a game of assassination, and you could bring the book to school or college or wherever, even work, and you would be assigned out of your group of however many people you got together, whether it's 5 or 20 or however many, and you'd each be randomly assigned somebody you have to assassinate. And the way you would assassinate them, it could be like you write on a piece of paper or a Post-it note, boom, and you put it in their notebook, and when they open it up and they see the word boom, they're dead. Or you might have a banana as your gun. So you didn't bring water guns and Nerf guns to school. You would have other things, but you have to label what it is. And yeah, it was just silly. And of course, in today's atmosphere, I don't think it'd be wise to
thrown out of school.
Yeah, it's I'm sorry, you've got a deadly banana. Excuse me? You're suspended. Ooh, damn.
Salt with a banana.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just good, fun, clever games, and it's nice to hear when these guys, when they're nice. I have a lot of respect for the guy that did Cards Against Humanity. I don't remember his name right now. But I like his style, how he'll set up at cons. Oh, okay, Henry says a couple of my students played that a few years ago. They marked each other with dry erase markers. See, yeah. It's harmless fun. He did not encourage you to go crazy and scare the class or anything like that. It was done that's why it was a game of assassination. You didn't want to necessarily be seen, and you didn't know who was coming for you either. So it could be your best friend, or it could be somebody that you've only, seen because they're in the game. It's the simple things.
Yeah, that sounds like a good way to make your life less boring.
Yeah, and that's we played it a few times in school and never got in trouble because, again, you weren't running across a common area screaming at somebody and waving something at them. You had to do it, very discreetly because you didn't want them to know you're coming, and you, of course, didn't want to get in trouble.
It was subtle.
Yeah, it's back when you could do, a pencil sketch of death and doom and Machines of War and not be put into therapy for it.
Yeah.
Do you remember playing? You would draw an army on a piece of paper, and your friend would draw an army on the other side, whether it was little guys or tanks or helicopters. Then you take your pencil and put it on one of your tanks or whatever, and you go like that. So the pencil would slide across the paper, drawing a line. And if you hit one of their guys or machines or whatever, it was gone. You ever play that?
No, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it was just, again, one of those super simple things. You drew 15 or 20 things each, and then you tried to blow up each other's machines. But now, of course, if you drew this whole picture of tanks and helicopters and stick figures with guns, you'd be out of there.
I think sometimes that gets too much attention when that kind of thing happens, because I have had students come in and draw all kinds of things. I've seen all kinds of stuff in kids' notebooks, but I've only, maybe I shouldn't say this on the internet, but I feel like a lot of times you only make a big deal out of it when it's part of a larger pattern that would generate genuine concern.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are some kids when you see warning signs, but it doesn't necessarily need a panic reaction when you just have a kid drawing something on their notebook.
Right, like a picture of a tank is not a big deal, or a kid who likes to draw army men is not a big deal. But if the kid is fixated on violence perpetually, and then they're drawing guns, then it's like, okay, well, this is what I can take to the admin to get something to happen.
Or
right now,
this kid,
they may be a future comic drawer, artist or game designer.
Yeah,
they have to start somewhere too.
No, they have pictures of all their classmates with their heads exploding and their name written under it and an X across the picture.
That's different.
Warning sign.
Yeah, that's different. That's very from drawing like Optimus Prime fighting Goku.
Right.
Right. Because I've got kids that draw that kind of crap, and it's like, okay, that's great. Let's talk about cartoons for a minute.
Yeah. It's and our Western culture is steeped in violence, where you can't see a boobie, but you could see a head explode, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And then it is kind of backwards, isn't it?
Goku would totally rip Optimus Prime a new asshole, by the way.
Would he? I've never found the Transformers to be all that terribly threatening. I mean, they had how many seasons of a cartoon in the 80s and still couldn't get rid of one damn bad guy.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they're effective. And
great though.
I used to build med. I don't even know what that means. What is med, and how do you build one?
Is that like cooking meth?
It's the medical used meth. It's called med. I got a med lab. It's strictly for Puritan reasons.
Yeah, I only use it to stay awake and study at night, of course.
That's right. Yeah, I'm so behind the times and out of the loop. I don't even know what meth does to people besides make them twitchy. And that's only because I watched Breaking Bad recently and went, oh, it made them twitchy.
I still haven't watched Breaking Bad. That's how far behind.
I watched season 1 a couple years back and went, oh, so this is waiting for the train wreck, and if the train wreck happens, the whole series is over. Will he get caught? Won't he? And I love good suspense. I really respect good suspense in a show or a movie, but I can't have the whole thing be one giant string of suspense. I lose interest because I'm like, I'm just here raising my blood pressure and adrenaline, and I'm not actually enjoying the story anymore.
And you know that once they break through that one barrier, then there's nothing left for the show to do.
Right. It's like Dexter. Dexter was a great show, but yeah, that one thing. Medieval weapons out of pencil, rubber bands, paper clips. See, yeah, we used to do that. It's...
The question is, why do it? I mean, you did it because it was cool. You didn't do it because you were actually trying to hurt somebody. And I think that's the difference. At least it is for me. Like, if I see a kid hey, look at this crossbow I made out of pencils, I'm like, that's really cool, but you need to put that away.
And never speak of it again.
But if a kid's like, here, I made this thing which is actually going to shoot this kid, and it's like really going to hurt somebody, and because the kid's not going to come up and show you this kind of shit if he's actually planning to use it on another kid.
Right.
Right? So it's all in that kind of approach too. It's like if they're goofing off and making this stuff and not making a secret out of it, then it's way less concerning than if you have a kid hiding the rubber bands and pencils under his desk.
Right.
And he's like unbending paper clips and you know.
See, now
or maybe that's just me.
these are stupid things kids did when I was in school. Now, I did not participate in these activities because I went, what? No, that's stupid and dangerous and I can get hurt. So there's the whole thing of kids who would have rock fights outside. And I'm like, wait, so you're actually throwing rocks at each other?
Yeah.
But they would take paper clips on a rubber band and zing them across the room. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or they would take a staple and bend it into a square, put it on their pencil tip, and then flick it across the room. Again, I didn't participate in this because I'm like, I don't want a staple in the eye. I don't want a paper clip to the side of my head. I'm not interested in playing your game. Was it harmless? Potentially dangerous, but not meant with, injury in mind. They thought they were being clever and fun. And do you ever have friends that had BB gun wars? Like before paintball, they would go out in the local woods or field and everybody have their little pump BB gun and shoot at each other?
No. I paintball. By the time I was in high school, old enough to do that sort of crap, paintball was a thing.
Okay. See, at paintball I have less of an issue with, but like these friends that have told me, like, oh, we're gonna have a BB gun war. I'm like, yeah, let me know how it goes. I'm staying home, and not because I was afraid of trouble, because I was afraid of pain.
My experience with BB guns is we used to sit on, in the house that I grew up in. My parents had a wraparound porch. And you could
Nice.
get out on the roof over the wraparound porch from the upstairs bedrooms,
Mm-hmm.
and crawl out the window with the BB gun. And we had these across the street neighbors that we hated these guys' guts. And so we would sit there and hide in the shadows all night, and we'd watch for them to be like getting ready to go to bed or something,
Mm-hmm.
and we'd shoot their trash cans. They had metal trash cans. And we'd shoot their trash cans with the BB gun and see if we could come out because he thought there was like a raccoon getting in his trash can or something.
See, that's
And and he never figured out what we never got caught because, and I know we didn't get caught because if he had caught us, we would have known, right?
Yeah.
Because he didn't like us very much either because we were a bunch of asshole teenagers, and he was just another big asshole, right? So asshole meets asshole. It's just
Big stick
weird
fest.
kind of suction. Yeah. Mental image. I gotta delete real quick. So that's my experience with BB guns, and I never, I have hemophilia, so violent things never really appealed to me because I didn't want to bleed
I
to
have
death.
a certain level of intelligence, so violent things never appealed to me. It's when we used to have metal tennis ball cans, you would take it and you cut out the bottom and you duct tape these things together and you get 3 or 4, and then you'd empty out a firecracker or a little gasoline into the bottom and poke a hole that you could stick a match in, drop a tennis ball or a potato down in it and light it, and it would shoot like the length of a football field. It was fucking great. But you didn't aim
Don't try this at home, kids.
and try it at your uncle.
Continue.
But you'd shoot it like straight down the middle of the road. You didn't aim for somebody's house. You didn't aim for another kid. And once somebody did go, I'm going to shoot it at another kid, you just went, you know what? You're on your own. I got to go.
Yeah.
Because no. And Skipper says
That's
office
the
supply
no.
weapons were proof of concept before building large ones at home. See, I'd much rather see a kid building a trebuchet in his front yard than wandering out with a BB gun.
Yeah, the trebuchet would be we would now be like, hey, this kid is a STEM genius.
Yeah. He figured out basic mechanics all by himself. Wow, good job.
Kids don't build shit.
No, they don't. Even Legos. Legos used to not have directions. which that was never my thing. I'm not the engineer type, but
Mhm.
so I liked it when they came out with sets with instructions where I could build a castle with a trebuchet that you could really
Yeah.
buy. Um, but yeah, nowadays my son, when he was younger, fancies. I'm great with Legos. I'm like, great, build something. He's like, even with the instructions, it would be like a fucked up pile of bricks.
Yeah.
But he thought he was great, so okay, man.
It's the execution, not the product. That's what
Yeah,
makes it so great.
yeah. Well,
You know, my kids have a big bucket full of Legos, and they go downstairs and they build stuff that looks like complete junk, but it doesn't matter because in their mind they built a city, and that's more valuable than that's more valuable than worrying about it being a perfect piece of art.
Henry says cell phones are monopolizing kids' time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and adults. It's funny. I'm at the convention, Mysticon, and I'm walking through the hall, and there's kids, teenagers, walking, and their parents behind them, like this, on their cell phone. And I had one woman walk into me, and she looks up, and she's like, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "Oh, you kids and your cell phone." Now she's like a 60-year-old woman, and she found it very amusing, which was my intent. But yeah, it was kind of the reverse comedy of here we are as a older generation yelling at you kids and your phones, but no, our
Yeah.
generation is doing the damn same thing, and you're like, really? This is why we have videos of people falling into fountains at malls or walking in front of a car on a city street. Put it away.
I catch myself looking at my stupid phone when I shouldn't all the time.
This is why right now my phone during the show, I've turned the sound and the vibration off. Yeah, I've got a dozen notifications, but it's over here because
I use mine, but I'm pimping the show.
yeah,
It's work.
Andrea's using hers to send out screenshots of what we're doing or topics or whatever, and it brings more people in. This is why if you've watched that red number underneath our screen, you'll see it going, from 2 to 7 to back and forth again and
Yeah.
again. It's definitely help. Use a tool for what it's meant for, which, by the way, if it's time to screw off, pull out your phone, have a great time, but don't walk down anything while doing it. And a glance at your phone is different. There's been times I'm walking out of a building, I look to see what notifications I have. But if it's something I'm going to check, I'm going to step to one side and go.
This is a computer. It's a computer.
I've developed a horrible habit of looking at my phone every time I step up to a urinal.
Really?
And I know one of these days I'm going to drop my phone because I can't pull my phone out when I'm in class. So I check the notifications when I step into the bathroom because I have to really, really condense that time, right? Because I need to get back to class.
I guess if you're not taking pictures, it's okay.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at my text message, and it's turned into this habit where even when I'm at home, it's like, oh gee, I gotta pee, and as soon as I'm doing the peeing, I pull out my phone. What am I doing? I don't have to do this right now. I know one of these days I'm gonna drop my phone in the toilet, and it's gonna be the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened.
Oh, dropping it is embarrassing. Retrieving is embarrassing. On the bright side,
Only-
Go ahead.
I don't know that I mean, I'd have to put it in rice, I guess.
It
to build
depends. Most of the newer phones, for example, my
Wash
phone,
it first.
I could drop it in 3 foot of water for up to so many hours, and it's fine. And I didn't pay extra. It's just how they're making phones more waterproof now. But yeah, it's
But if you drop it in the urinal, you don't want to just put that in rice and put it back on your face. Ew. I'm just saying.
Is there video photos of the ballista made from truck springs?
that's a good question.
Sounds amazing. If there's video of it, that needs to be on YouTube.
I feel like it needs to be built in the back of a pickup truck so it's mobile.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, then you could just use the winch on the back of the truck to draw it back and release it.
Yeah, it could be a self-fellating truck ballista.
Did you say self-fellatiating?
Yes, I did. In reference to ballista on a truck.
Well,
And we could
There's a YouTube video for that.
a self-fellating parade ballista, and we can use it to shoot confetti? I don't know. What would be harmless to shoot out of a ballista in a parade?
Nothing anymore, because confetti is bad for the environment.
Hmm.
You know, you can put happy thoughts in and fire those out over the crowd. That's about it. And even that, somebody's going to disagree with your happy thought. It's going to create a march somewhere.
We'd have to find a way to make biodegradable happy thoughts.
Well, in the current atmosphere of the U.S., I think all happy thoughts are pretty biodegradable. Every time you bring out a good idea to help people, somebody else is like, hold on while I shit on that idea.
I would love to see these photos, Skipper. I'm genuinely interested.
Made in the 80s, no video. Well, you could put it in a video and have the pictures wind around and whatnot and put music behind it, and then it would be a video of pictures. That'd be okay. You could do that.
Yeah, we could computer animate it.
Okay, we're coming up to the last few minutes. Benton, anything you want to have a closing thought or pimp where you're going to be next if we haven't already 5 times?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. If anybody watching this is going to be at Steampunk Symposium, come check me out. Check us out. Say hi.
It's in Ohio. Where in Ohio is it?
It's going to be in Cincinnati, I think.
You're based out of Roanoke, right?
Yeah, I'm in Roanoke.
So if somebody in or around the Roanoke area wants to hire you, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
The best way to get in contact with me is, well, you can find me through Instagram. I've got a Facebook. If you put in SoftServo on Facebook, you'll probably find both the company that makes servos and me. So there's that. I'm
going to put the link up to Facebook. I'll put that up.
Facebook is probably the number one way to get a hold of me. I don't use Facebook much, except for Messenger and stuff. But between the Instagram and Facebook, I think most people can find me and get to me if they want. Or if if you need stock music and stuff like that, check out Tape Music and Sound Design. That's that we can work something out. If it's not, if you want something that's a little bit more than what I do myself, I would point you toward them because it's a small growing company, but man, we produce good stuff. It's impressive.
Well, I'm gonna
follow them on Instagram too. Tape Music and Sound Design Roanoke or something. I don't remember.
And I'm playing Parlay right now, so we have this. This will take us to the end of the show, essentially, when I play the outro. If you guys are around...
We need a toast.
Yeah, I'm going to do a toast in just a second. Tomorrow, join us as I think we're going to have, matter of fact, a guy that also designs games to create campaign settings for 5th edition as well as Pathfinder. I believe we're going to have him on, Mike Myler, and if we don't have that, then it's Andrew and I playing Lego Dimensions. She doesn't look excited. That's much better. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm doing the posting thing.
And Thursday, join us as we bring in the crew for Steampunk Piscataway as they move forward with their endeavor of their event on the same weekend that Steampunk World's Fair was once on. And we're going to talk to them, and we also think we're going to have Montague Jacques Fromage coming in, as well as possibly Victor and the Bully. So it's going to be, here's some information, and then here's a party. So join us for that. Those are both start at 1 p.m. Eastern. And with that time, even the Europeans can jump in and join us without it being terrible on their schedule. I think I wrapped it up. Well, I guess I can do next Monday's show. What are we doing next? Oh, Cooking and Cannibalism on Talk of the Tavern next Monday night.
And we have a guest that is a chef.
We'll
have that and Kevin, 2 chefs on there. Come to find out if they're talking about regular cooking or cannibal cooking.
Or both. Oh, there's another kitty. Who's that?
This is Muffin.
Muffin and calamari. Do you only have 2?
Yeah. Muffin likes to be spanked.
Yeah, she does. Does she do the licking thing when you spank her?
No,
Okay.
she just throws up under my bed if I don't.
Gotcha. I do the same thing when people spank me. It's not always easy figuring out where they live, but it's all part of the
Yeah.
challenge.
Muffin, you want to say hi to the
Muffin!
internet? No, she doesn't want to say hi.
I've got Cuttlefish the cat right here, and Goblin. There's Giraffe and Zazzles. And
Zazzles.
here's Squirrel sleeping with Mr. Bitey Otter. So I've got 6 out of 8 in this room.
Every cat I've ever had has been named after food. I
Nice.
used to have a cat omelet. No longer with us, but he was a good kid.
Van Yarn is named after my D&D character from a long time ago.
Okay, let's do a closing toast here. Here's to sharing the music that comes from the dark places.
Here, here.
I'm out of beverage.
I'm out too. I'm just faking it, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry to break the
You're not
illusion.
supposed to tell everybody.
I know.
Oh,
It's an illusion.
I'm new at this.
I do have
Well,
the water
next time
bottle
you'll
here.
know.
And that's something else. As you, in the future, Benton, as you get to places where you have a CD release coming out or a game release, yeah, ping me. Get you on the show and talk about it for a while.
Sure. Yeah. Dance to This was just released earlier this month, which is this one. The tapes, if they're not officially on sale anywhere, but if anybody just contact me, and you PayPal me $5, I'll mail you a tape.
There you go.
CDs are for sale on my Bandcamp, and then Dance to This is available on the tape Bandcamp. What, kitty?
I
oh
can
my
hear her
goodness.
purr when she goes up against the mic there. That's a happy kitty. Apparently,
Hey, thank me.
there we go.
Tell me I'm not a girl.
If I had $1 for every time I've said that to people,
What, that you're a naughty girl?
well, spank me. Tell me I'm a naughty girl.
Travis, you are a naughty girl.
Yeah. Big hint. Never say it to law enforcement
They'll do it.
or the judge.
Well, what?
Well, I appreciate you joining us, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. This was enjoyable.
It's a good time. Normally we're a little more rowdy and foul-mouthed, but I was in a mellow mood, and it went well with the music you serve up. So it's all good. Skipper, thank you for joining us. Henry, it's a pleasure meeting you. Make sure you pop in again. Get those notifications. We have a variety of stuff. That's something. See, that's one of my character flaws. I can never do the same thing over and over again. It's always got to be. I just enjoy variety and everything. So that's why we got a different kind of show every day of the week. Well, 4 out of 7. And we're going to head on out here. Let's see. We're going to let this song finish up, though. It's got another minute before it's done. And then we'll go into the outro, and we'll fade away with the rest of your day. There you go. Yeah,
My
there you
cats
go.
don't get.
Hmm?
The one cat's looking at this cat and is like, "No, I don't want you to be here."
Once again, I'm sure Henry's bulldog is watching the screen going, I could be on his lap being spanked right now. What the hell?
Henry's bulldog is the best.
What kind of bulldog is it?
It's an English bulldog, isn't it?
Okay.
I think. I don't know. I'm not up on my dog breeds as much. People who are up on their dog breeds.
Don't worry,
Of
the
course.
cat's blocking the cat hair. We
Um, Now I'm covered in white cat hair.
There we go. Okay, you guys have a great day. We'll catch you again tomorrow if you pop in. Otherwise, next time you come around. And we're out of here.
Thanks for watching.
Absolutely. Gonna mute ourselves during the outro. One thing that makes the show what it is. Don't forget to join us at the Tavern next week. Until then, have fun, keep learning, and be good to one another. Now, raise your glass in good cheer. Enjoy the small moments every day and steamy dreams every night.